Hello!
Hey, everybody.
Hello!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to episode 30 of Legends of Avantris. Oh my gosh, episode 30. Who would have thought?
Guys, I forgot our anniversary.
Hey, the salty healer.
It's Misaki with a new name because he just hates healing.
He hates healing. Yeah, healing is really...
Thanks for the sub.
We'll fix the sound, so if anyone notices it, just give us a shout.
Oh, jeez.
The sound never works these days.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Well,
announcements, I'll...
Yes. We are Legends of Avantris. We are a bunch of nerds that embarrass ourselves for your entertainment. We are a group of friends that have been playing together for over 2.5 years now. Hey, our 2.5-year anniversary was the 13th of June. That's when we had our big epic boss fight with Orpheus Rhadamanthus. Hopefully you tuned in. If you're new, welcome. We love you. If you're old, welcome. Welcome back. We love you. We are playing 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons for those that are interested. The party is 9th level. We do a lot of, mostly rules as written, but a lot of homebrewing, a lot of rules as fun, a lot of, some rules as intended, overwritten, and a lot of incorporation of 4th edition and other bits and fun shit that I like. Speaking of shit, this is a mature stream, so make sure you prevent the kiddos from watching this. We also have a Discord. Come hang out with us.
You can type !Discord in our chat to be able to get the link for a Discord.
Yes. And actually, I think, why don't we talk about our new chat commands that we have. Nikki was hard at work. I think she's going to go over all the new chat commands that we have, and it'll be really exciting.
I was hard at work at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when I couldn't sleep.
Than that.
Well, I'm trying to be nice to myself, and so I made some chat commands. We now have a chat currency, so the longer you watch us, the more money you make. It's gold because we play D&D, and that's what we get. So that's what you get. So you can make gold by just hanging out, being in our chat, being active. The more sessions that you watch, the more gold you make. If you're a subscriber, when you subscribe, you get 2,000 gold for being a subscriber. And so that's a nice hefty chunk of change to start off with. And you get 100 gold if you follow us. So hey, if you want some gold, you can follow us right now by clicking on that follow button. So right now what it does is you can play a mini game. I set up it's !Boss. And if you do that, you have an option depending on how many people join you to fight either Orpheus Rhadamanthus, who we just took down, a coven of eggs.
Very dangerous.
Or if a ton of you join, it's like an epic legendary boss. The Daytime Dracula is a boss option. If you want to see how much gold you have, it's !Gold, and that'll show you how much gold you have. !Boss, if you want to fight a boss with people in chat, you can only do that once an hour. And if you're interested in learning more about the party, you can type !Sylvie, !Rodek, !Vandris, and it gives you a little snippet about our characters. Remember, I wrote these at like 4 o'clock in the morning, so there are misspellings.
We'll prove that.
Terrible grammar, but Mikey will go over it later.
Yeah, someone hits with an !! Van. You know what? I don't even have the...
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Strike is a high elf swashbuckler rogue.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
So if you !Rodek, I forgot to add in his town, so it just has some hyphens, but that's cool. He comes from the city of hyphens.
Hyphens. It's a good
Anyway,
city.
it's a work in progress, is the long story short.
But the big ones, !Discord, !Boss, and !Gold. Later on, Richie and I were talking about this. We want to be able that's Richie, I'm Nikki. We want to be able to do something where you can actually utilize your gold to purchase real things, like the things that I make, like dice bags and, leather projects and dice trays and things like that. We have a 3D printer, so we do 3D printing stuff, and I want to incorporate a lot of that stuff. So we will eventually get there. So
got big plans.
Hoard
We'll
your
see what
gold.
happens.
Bring out your dead.
And then we're doing a huge giveaway at 500 followers. Rich, do you want to, or Nikki, do you want to take that over? Do you want to?
Yeah, so basically we got, on top of custom dice bags, we have fun leather dice trays that we're working on designing, and it's just screwed up. but it's all real, genuine leather. You can kind of get whatever custom logo you want on this. This is all sort of machined into the leather itself. There's fun stitching. This you can kind of pinch up and tie together to make a dice tray.
And
so
I hand did the whole thing myself.
So we're giving away one of these, a custom dice bag that most of you have seen, and a set of dice from Chessex as well.
Yeah,
So
not
I don't
sponsored.
even know where the
It's around
they're
here.
behind Richie.
Anyway,
Oh.
it's
By the
yeah,
Genie Lamp.
so you got obviously everybody's seen these. But
yeah, everyone you've seen. Just put them on street. Leave them there.
Yeah.
Leave 'em
yeah, I'll leave them there. So anyway,
there. Okay.
That's a 500.
And I think with that, I will. I have a large announcement, a pretty big announcement. You probably noticed a modified overlay and somebody missing. And so Scotes Ganji, our Dragonborn cleric, he, due to shifting interests and priorities, is stepping away from D&D and from Legends of Avantris. But it's been a great 2.5 years, and so it's been great.
Yeah.
So this is the gang going forward, and
So all of his
you-
love from us, and
Yeah.
maybe one day Ganji will find his way back to us. But for now, he's finding his own path. So we wish him well, and
and you'll be role playing him until
until the story deems it
standard
necessary,
dungeon
so.
master stuff.
So Misaki might get his wish, and there may be a TPK because we no longer have a cleric.
Never. Not on my watch.
No,
Ain't gonna happen.
never.
Okay.
But we have a first level bar.
Hey, that's the only support you need is one level in bard.
One
Hey guys,
level.
let's all take one level in bard.
Yeah.
Vance would be a good bard.
He would. He would.
Vandris has become a holy man
Oh
and
my
has
God.
turned away from killing people and has turned his eyes towards the. Sorry, I can't keep it up.
Sylvie can teach Vandris how to be a bard.
So, I encourage multi-classing, or if you guys want to. With that, my crush with that. What happened last time? Not on Dragon Ball Z, but on Legends of Avantris. You all had finally recovered from your insane battle with Orpheus Rhadamanthus, and after defeating him, leaving him hairless, crumpled on the floor, and deciding not to kill him, he was unconscious. You had saved the island from the Slaughty and from the terrors, the elemental chaos of Limbo. It was then you surveyed the room. You retrieved the Eyes of the Abyss, the helmet that Deadra Tidehunter had used to call forth the dragon turtle, the ancient dragon turtle, into the harbor of, or the sea outside of, the bay rather, outside of Gullhaven, to basically prevent all of the ships from pursuing. What else happened? Oh, you also, you had already known that there was an Efrita in one of the chambers who had left after granting you the wish. You had also, much to Annulin's dismay, found that all of the flail snails in the large vat were vaporized and crushed. But to her joy? Pleasure? I don't know. What's the opposite of dismay? The large egg, the child of Zaki, who she actually engineered the murder of, really kind of actually an interesting thing happened. The chick inside of the egg had miraculously survived the ritual, and a baby two-headed vulture monstrosity emerged. And despite it being a baby, was basically about the same size as the rest of the party. Annulin, after being the first thing that the chick saw, and after engineering the murder of its mother, they latched onto Annulin as a potential new mother, and they explored Orpheus's secret chamber. Heavily perfumed, full supply, strangely cool for a volcano lair, supplied with all sorts of food and alcohol. He kind of looted the place, found some chalks, found a glowing magic circle, found a set of magical armor, as well as a pocket watch with some strange engravings and etchings on it. He took all of that, and the party eventually dispelled the glowing circle that was on the ground, and they then took the vulture chick and then left. After arriving on the elevator from the volcano lair, to the former chamber of King Krem, the cruel, now Rattley's chamber. They rested. They had Orpheus' unconscious body. They decided what to do next. They realized that that is Dagny, our daytime
Gagula,
our pug, and so
she's just fighting.
She's just playing. She's just
Yeah.
playing. So she wants to play, and maybe she can roll a character.
She can be her cleric.
Yeah, sure. And so, what else happened? Learned that the Slotty had done a number on the Lockjaws. They killed a good number of them, but they were able to not obviously completely overwhelmed thanks to the quick thinking of you all and wishing for the Slotty to be sucked back into limbo. And with that, you basically enjoyed your final night. You discovered finally what those golden plates did that you probably would have figured out had you gone through the front door of King Krem's Keep at the very beginning. But you found that it was his private stash of gemstones that he seemed to find precious. And Rattley very graciously granted you a very hefty sack of these gems, and they repaired Ganji's armor for free, and really kind of gave you all the food and drink that you wanted as a reward for stopping Orpheus, who had basically, for killing King Krem, stopping Orpheus, and really giving them the kind of freedom that they had been, many of them had been secretly craving at the very least. And with that, they also gave you a ship. They offered a ship to take you home. And so they sent you off on your way after saying goodbye to yeah, so we're gonna get the dog here in a second.
She's just fighting on its feet.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay, we have a dog on stream. And so with that, they got you onto your ship, and you embarked. As you sail across the sea, you have not super close or friendly with the lizard folk crew that you've been granted, at least temporarily. And after settling into all of your relative quarters, you discovered that Orpheus not only had grown back his hair, but was also seemingly conscious, despite being bound and gagged. You are now in the chamber where Rodic had dropped him, and Orpheus, is looking at you, and the five of you are around.
So he had the rag in his mouth, and he very clearly or mumbled to us, well, hello, good doers, or something along those lines, correct?
Something like that, yeah, sure.
I want to take Venom Spine out of its scabbard and use the point to remove the filthy cloth from his mouth. Okay.
You take your rapier and you stab it into the rag, sputtering as the filthy rag is just kind of yanked out. Make a quick dex check, please.
Hold on, I need my dice. I didn't get my dice out.
Oh.
And then as I'm doing that, I'd like to say, good morning, my little turtle.
Why do you call him a turtle?
That's weird. Maybe there's more
I
to
rolled
this
really
than-
high. Hold on.
Is that a pet name?
I think it might be. No wonder he's so obsessed with
25.
orphans.
25. You stab the rapier. It finds purchase onto the rag. It pierces through, and you are effortlessly stabbing without injuring him at all. He kind of jumps back as he sees the blade heading directly towards his face, and then as you pull it, and he's kind of looking up at you, and as you say that, he blinks for a moment, and you see he doesn't speak for just a moment, and after bound and gag gets poked by Avantris' sword and called pet names, fanfic writers, balls in your court. Balls in your court.
You know what to do.
Yeah, you know what to do. he looks at you, and you can see that there is an immediate reaction that you get. His eyes kind of fill with this combination of anger and sadness. It kind of wells up for just the fraction of a second before it kind of returns to normal. His eyelids droop, and he looks at me and says, "Oh, you found the pocket watch, didn't you?"
I did, and I figured I'd hang on to it for safekeeping for now.
Wait, what pocket watch?
It's just a watch that I figured, belonged to Orpheus, and he might want it a later date. I was going to inspect it, but seeing as how he's awoken now, I figured I'd address the topic now.
You found something and you didn't tell me about it. When I found a ground head and put it on my broom, I told you about it.
I didn't intend to keep it forever. I just wanted to inspect it first
How
before
am I supposed to know that's true?
divulge it to the rest of the group.
Do we have any idea does it have some kind of terrible magical power on it?
I assume not. It's etched with a very lovely pet name, and I figured it was just something that he might want back
What
at
if
a later
Pocket
date.
Watches give him his hair back and that's why he has his hair again?
He hasn't touched it. I
This
doubt
is
his
all
Pocket
your
Watch has
fault.
any magic.
Anyway, enough of us squabbling.
No. Okay.
Proceed.
Fine. No. Okay. Fine.
If you're planning on returning it to me, you don't need to inspect it at all. No, it's
We're not.
fine.
I fully intend to. Give it at least 3 times look over, and even then you may not be getting it back. I just wanted to see what it might be worth to you.
You see him. His eyes narrow, and he looks at you, and he looks at his situation. He kind of looks around. You kind of get the sense that he's finally getting his bearings, kind of adjusting to the rocking of the ship, and he kind of realizes where he is, and you see kind of once again a little bit of emotion almost flare up, and then in those red pupils, and then fade back down. I don't care about it. Why would I?
Well, we've been at sea for, I don't know, a couple of days now, guys, and I could always just toss it overboard.
No.
It's a thing.
What?
It's a
Yeah, it's a
tactic.
pocket watch.
No, it's
But it says turtles on it, and I love turtles. What if it makes turtles? What if it makes turtles with hair? Ooh,
It
can
didn't
I
grow
have
hair.
it, Avantris?
How did you get your hair back?
You think I have any idea? Thank God, though, right? Thank God, rather. And he kind of, he's very tightly bound, and he's just kind of flipping his hair. Oh, I missed you so much. He's like trying to kiss it.
Well, that's really strange. But back to the main question at hand. Can I have that pocket watch if it creates turtles?
I don't even ignore her. I ignore her completely, and I maintain eye contact with Orpheus.
He's beginning to do this far more often than I like.
He's been waiting a long time for this. Just
Okay,
let him have
fine.
his time.
It's a pocket watch. It tells the time. What do you want from me?
All right, fine, so
I
be
wanna
it.
roll an
I
insight
just
check on him.
figured I'd give you the opportunity.
I don't think you're going to do it, frankly.
Can I insight check him?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just really want to know if that pocket watch creates turtles, especially with hair.
What do you get? What do you get?
I got 5.
He doesn't really seem to give that much of a shit.
Interesting. I turn to the rest of the gang and I say, well, we need to keep an eye on him. Don't trust anything that he says. And I suppose we'll figure out what we're going to do with him. We've got some time here to I guess, rough him up if we want. We better make sure he doesn't die on us immediately, I suppose.
Speaking of that, can I ask a favor and you actually listen to it?
Sure, why not?
Can I shave his head and use it to make new hair for fecal deck?
Please don't.
I am not going to grant you permission, but I'm certainly not going to say you can't do it.
Oh.
You're your own person, and you're free to do whatever you like.
Please
Oh,
don't.
wow. I'm going to use those words against you in the future. Thanks.
Well, you'll keep your hair as long as you participate and cooperate. you understand?
I don't seem to have much of a choice, do I?
You don't.
He overtly is struggling against the binds. See,
How did you lose? Do you have any magical power left at all?
let's think for a moment. I was conscious for about 30 minutes in a vessel made of wood, only bound by ropes. You think if I had any power, you'd all be not drowning right now or burned alive?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Can I insight check him?
Yeah.
Ooh. 12.
Seems to be genuine.
Well, I think just to make sure that there's no kind of terrible secret in that pocket watch, Sylvie, would you like to take a look?
You don't need to
We
do
can
that.
discuss that later.
All right.
Let's not worry about it right now in front of our guest, per se. I think maybe we might want to conduct an extensive interviewing period. Maybe try to learn a bit more about what your intentions were and what you plan to do now. Because once I turn you over to the to Anzu and the royal family, God knows what they're going to do with you.
Well, I have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do with me.
If it involves dismemberment, you might want to again continue to cooperate with us.
But I thought you already said you were going to turn me in regardless.
Oh, absolutely. I'm collecting that money. That money's mine. I earned it, and I intend to share it with my comrades.
Ooh, I like money.
What alternative are you granting me then? Either I'm horribly dismembered, as you said, or depending on what they do, or I'm horribly dismembered.
He could let me loose on you.
That's true. I could. That's an option. But seeing as we've been through this long deal and we've met many powerful people along the way, and I may be able to talk to Anzu and find out what they actually intend to do with you. And if you have lost all your power, we might be able to set up some sort of long-term rehabilitation / internment as opposed to dismemberment.
Oh, so noble and heroic. The bounty hunter turned good guy. Do-gooder, even.
Well, to be fair, I did save the world.
That you did. Curse you. It would have been a pretty great way for the world to end, though, right?
I have to say, if anybody was going to do me in, if any mark was going to do me in, Orpheus, I might have almost been okay with it being you.
Well, if I don't, whatever the hell Diadra unleashed probably will for you and me.
That actually might be a good starting point. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that?
You see him contemplate. He rolls his tongue around in his teeth. And his eyes narrow a bit, and he looks back up at you. He says, aren't I supposed to have something to bargain with? Aren't you supposed to promise me safe passage?
I have an idea. I want to charm monster.
Okay.
So he has to roll against it. And I believe that it is wisdom. Yeah, it's wisdom.
That is an 8.
19 is what he had to get. So for an hour, we're like best friends. Hi, I'm going to shave your hair later, but now we're really good friends. You should answer all of Avantris' questions because we kept you alive and you're so pretty now with your hair grown back.
And if you cooperate, you'll keep your hair.
Yeah, it's that fresh sea air with that beautiful salt water that's giving you such lustrous locks. And you can thank Avantris for that because we owe this boat to his ex-girlfriend.
You say a quick incantation and shake your hand, and you see that same familiar kind of glittery pink sand-like dust kind of poof over him, and he kind of blinks for a moment, and his eyes kind of gloss over for a second, and then he looks back at you in a broad smile, and he says, "Well, I do like my hair.
It's
I do want to
beautiful.
keep it."
And
I know, right?
yeah, and if you tell
I know, right?
if you tell Avantris the things he wants to know, I won't cut it off and put it on fecal deck because we're friends.
Well, that's a
Fecal
better-
deck is a poop doll that I made for Rodak.
Okay, I'll talk. What do you want?
It's lovely.
What do you want? I mean, we're friends, but that's still weird.
All right. Let's take a few steps back. I appreciate the cooperation. So, as we know, you were working with Deandra, and things didn't quite go according to your plan. First off,
Unfortunately.
what was your plan? And second of all, what did she do that you didn't like?
Well, where do I start? After the horrible before? I think I already gave you that amazing story previously. What did you think about that, by the way?
You're
Well, we
great.
should get to that shortly, but it was a good story.
You're a great storyteller. You
Thank
might
you.
want to consider leveling in Bard for a little bit.
Well, maybe I will. I've got nothing better going on.
Yeah.
My original plan, my plan A, is that what you want to know?
We could go through them all. We'll start with A. It's a good place to start.
Well, I had plan A and plan B, and plan B worked pretty well until you do-gooders, so we'll start with plan A. Wait. I'll tell you, but I want to ask, do you have any idea what the necessities for opening the portal to Limbo that I figured out was? I'm testing you.
The help of your enemies. The blood
well,
of the innocent.
Again, we only have really the story that you told us to go off of, but it sounded like you were so enthralled with what you saw that you wanted to bring Limbo here.
True. In all of my research, you may have gotten a little bit of a taste that Limbo has all 4 of the elements in an endless chaos. And despite there being very powerful spellcasters that are capable of teleporting to various planes of existence, and creatures that can do the same, Limbo is a tough nut to crack. It's one of the more difficult, if not the most difficult, to get to, by choice. I figured out, or at least I had a hunch, and I think I was right, that if I just procured, stole through violence and murder at least, an artifact or relic or something that could tear open a portal to each of the 4 planes, war them all or something, and open them all at the same time, it would tear a hole open in Limbo.
Oh, that's kind of a good idea.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I have pretty good ideas.
Yeah.
That's what they paid me my archaeology professor for. My salary, that is. And so, you saw I only found one. It was a long journey, but I only found one. Thanks to you all. I mean, I would have found it anyway, but you made it a lot easier to steal.
So, assuming that Deandra crossed you and didn't follow through with her part of the bargain, what does she actually end up summoning?
You think I have any idea?
I do. I think you're a pretty smart guy, and I don't think that you often make mistakes. You know, except for getting caught by us, of course.
Or that time you went bald.
Please don't remind me.
Or lost all of your
your
power.
hair looks so much better now. It's kind of like when you light something on fire and then what grows back is more prettiest. That's kind of what your hair did.
I don't know if that's a thing, but thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Oh, kind of like when I made that doll of Rodak and it's made out of poop and it's prettier than he is. It's like the second time around's always better.
That's fine.
Sure,
Yep.
sure. That's lovely. You all are so charming.
That's what they tell me.
Deandra, she was an odd duck, creepazoid. But she told me, and maybe I'm just a moron, but I believed her when she said that she could take the eyes of the abyss, and I didn't need the rest of all of the 3 artifacts that I was looking for, and that she'd be able to use her measurable power to just tear a portal right open to Limbo. Well, I heard her mention strange things about Primeval One, about the Lost Empire, about drowning the world and Umberly, but it seemed as if Umberly was the means to an end. Although she served faithfully, it seemed as if her true master was whatever the hell came out of that portal, or at least whispers from somewhere.
So, out of character, the Eyes of the Abyss, we know. of do we know of the other artifacts that he was stealing? Have we heard of that at all, or do we see them? Am I just forgetting, or is that a question that I can interrogate him to find out the other pieces?
You remember that he had been on a crime spree, going around to various cities and towns, breaking into places, stealing magical artifacts. Or artifacts, things he thought at least were magical artifacts. That was one of the things that he stole from the royal family of Anzu. And he just chucked it back to you. He told you that it was useless to him in that first fight with them.
Right, I remember that. Okay. So then, in addition to the Eyes of the Abyss, what were the other 3 items, or what other items did you take? And I guess why Anzu? Why that item that you found ended up not being worth anything to you?
Well, have you looked at it? It looks like it could probably summon and open a portal to the elemental plane of air.
And we have that on us currently?
No, it didn't. That's why I gave it back to you.
Oh, it did.
I mean, we have it, but it didn't do what he wanted it to.
Right.
It's useless to me. It really looks the part, though, doesn't it? It's convincing.
So besides this failed attempt at gathering an item, I'm assuming you, instead of turning to artifacts and magical items, you used the actual creatures in the tunnel to open the portal instead?
I have a feeling that, had I gotten all 4 and Plan A went off with a bang, that little tiny pinhole that you saw would have paled in comparison. But I was able to brute force it. In my travels, I just happened to find a bottle within a Frita, and then that's when Plan B began to formulate. And there happened to be a creature native to the elemental plane of air on an island that happened to have a volcano where there were creatures native to the elemental plane of earth. I figured that if I worked out my contraption and used my genius, and with a little help from power sources that I was unable to fuel, that I'd be able to...
did that.
No, thank you. No, I said I was very grateful.
That's why we're best friends now.
I
Want to
know,
play patty
that's-
cake while you tell the story?
No.
Like he can...
He's staying tied.
Okay.
So...
No, I mean, I would love to do that.
Well,
It's a little tough, you know?
yeah, I know.
We're not untying it.
But sometimes friendship is really difficult, and that's just, you show me that you really mean it by dealing with the hard stuff, you know? Oh well, sorry, Orpheus.
So, quick, another question out of character before I ask one more question. If the creature knows it's charmed when it becomes no longer charmed, correct?
Yes.
Mentioning it being charmed currently doesn't break the charm, correct?
I don't think so.
Only if he's harmed physically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Alright,
Yeah, it's
so then
only if we, the spell ends, or if any of us do anything harmful to it.
Okay, alright. So then the only thing I'm gonna so now I'll turn to Orpheus and I'll say, now I'm gonna ask you one more question, and I suppose you think very, very hard about this, because this question involves people that we know being harmed, and we're trying to find out where they are. So,
Shoot.
if you answer incorrectly, I don't care what kind of charm is on you, you'll start losing fingers. Do you understand?
Do I have a choice?
I'm telling you, you don't. I'm making sure that you understand that.
Very well. And like, there's
What
no
do
re-
you know
Oh,
of what happened to Professor Azaret?
Ooh, Professor Triton, my old pal. I have no idea exactly, but I have a theory, and it's pretty good.
Go on.
Did you happen to notice any similarities to where we first met? I'm sure you think of it fondly, Avantris. And
Yes, I think about it quite often.
and what we encountered all together when we first met, and what we happened to also encounter when Diageo betrayed me. A little bit of a correlation there. Strange fish creatures.
Right.
Strange tentacles, fish. That statue that I was hoping to procure, I have no idea what it would have done, but it looked like it could have been a great amplifier of magic. I have no idea.
So out of character, there's the huge statue.
Yep.
He got dropped on by some kind of ooze or something from the ceiling. He grabbed the huge statue and then jumped in the water. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So, is that your theory? Just that there's a mere coincidence with fish?
Well, you didn't let me finish.
Go on.
The creature that was depicted in that statue I was after looked awfully similar to the one that came out of that portal, don't you think?
That would be quite the coincidence.
Do we know that... So the statue that Azran took
Yeah.
was also of the same creature?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was invisible at the time and being very stealthy, but I recall that glob fell on him. He mentioned an empire. Funny that.
Right.
Funny that. Went all bonkers crazy, talked in a creepy voice, remind you of anyone, and jumped into the water and just swam away. Remind you of anyone.
Why are you talking about me? I'm right here.
So you think that Deidre was affected by the same type of thing that affected Professor Azra?
Whether or not she was willing and knowledgeable, it seems coincidental if not related.
Have you ever heard of anything like a goo to fall on someone and completely change them in an instant?
That's not my forte, unfortunately. I've studied the planes and I've studied all sorts of strange creatures from across the plains, and I have no idea what that was. I have no idea what sort of powers it has. All I know is what I saw when that thing came out of that portal.
So do you think that there's a good chance that these people are not acting of their own will, their own accord? They're not acting according to their own plans. They're being manipulated by some elder being?
Well, I don't really want to bring this up because it hits a soft spot, but we keep mentioning whispers, and maybe it's relevant, but the Coven of Hags that we fought, they called themselves the Coven of Whispers. And I just feel like those kind of things don't tend to be coincidences.
Right. This is juicy.
Did you know about the hags?
Yeah. What hags? I saw some orcs and ogres running around, and I paid no mind. Although I will say, that strange brother and sister combo I stole from, they seem to be mentioning serving something, but I didn't stay around or care long enough to really find out what.
Well, I reach into the bag of holding and I pull out the statue that I forget, was it Andrus or was it Vandris or Annulin?
I think we both found it.
Yeah, they both found it together.
Thanks to the DM.
With the power of friendship and plot convenience.
I pull it out. So it was, everyone saw it was this creature, right? And I hold it up around.
Where'd you find that?
We found it in a cave on the way to Pridefall. It's a random cave with
The
knolls.
The cave where we found Sophina,
Right?
who was a changeling for the Coven of Whispers.
Wait a minute. And who knows? Only
Yeah,
knows.
Knolls, Kenku. At least initially.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Interesting. Who knows? That was pretty good. That was
Thanks.
good. That was good.
I'm clever.
That's almost as good as mine, but that's fine.
Better, but you know we're friends, so
The best friends
that's fine.
with pretty hair.
Yeah.
You were about to say something.
Well, if there's Kenku around. Kenku are notorious thieves. They can't keep their grubby little filthy feathery paws off of anything. Was there a chance they may have stolen something from those that they served, and once they realized, like I do, can't blame them, that it was useless to them, just a rock, they chucked it? I could be wrong.
There's always a chance.
So you're saying that it possibly belonged to the Coven, these Kenku.
All I know is
working
that
for the
Kenku are
Coven.
filthy thieves. I don't know why the King of Anzu lets them stay around in those slums.
So let's assume for a minute that Deidre and the professor are afflicted by the same potential issue, and then that the hags are also some arm of this being that's doing some ultimate plan, right? And that the hags are working together with Deidre and Triton, but not directly, just all working towards the same goal, but they don't realize it. Let's just say that for a second.
You're the one that's saying it.
Thank you. I realize that. The hags are dead. We killed them all. Azran is gone. Deidre is dead.
Thanks
Yeah.
again, by the way.
My pleasure, honestly.
You wouldn't much help.
So then, what my point is though that this creature whatever plan thing must be falling apart. We're stopping it at every turn, whether we mean to or not.
Well, I don't know. That seems a little presumptuous.
I agree with Sylvie. I mean, all Deidre really cared about was me letting her use that crown, the helmet rather. She was so intent. I probably should have noticed something was up, but I was just so preoccupied with how amazing my plan B was, I just didn't care.
Speaking of the helm, do you know how she summoned that dragon turtle? And is it possible that it's still around?
Oh, I can guarantee it's still around. We're probably heading straight toward our deaths.
Well,
That'll
I
be
didn't
fun.
expect that.
Well, I guess if I'm going to die being torn apart by an ancient dragon turtle, could be worse.
Oh no, we're getting that money for you. Don't worry. We're gonna get you there safely.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, I'll get the money. So I can just mount you on my broom and fly off to Anzu with you and let them die to the dragon turtle. I mean, I'd really rather not to do that. It's like my plan F.
If you would like to survive, how would we send it back using the helm?
I don't know.
Can
Oh.
I put it on?
All I knew about it was how to bring things forward. How to use my power to tear open the portal. And I still had to brute force that. Only Deidre, with her connection, was able to just put it on and use it. All I know is that it had those strange draconic markings and mentions of sacrifice, and that's it. I don't know.
I have Deidre's soul in my rod. So maybe if I put it on, I might be able to do something.
How do you have her soul in your rod?
Well, because I married her father, Santa Claus, her ex-boyfriend, her brother, or something, I don't remember. But we emotionally got married, and then when he was sent
Oh, Jolly
to...
Roger.
I don't know what that means. Is that a candy? Is it the
Sure.
watermelon candy? It's like really hard and you have to suck on it for like an hour before it finally goes away. Anyway, I don't know why you're talking about candies. Yeah, so Santa Claus and we had a really emotional relationship until that time he cheated on me with Annulin, but it's okay, I forgave him.
Drama
I still
bomb.
haven't forgiven her yet, though. She hasn't even apologized or talked to me about it all, but it's fine, whatever, we don't need to speak
I
about it.
told you we were playing board games.
It didn't sound like board games.
She did say that.
It was also a ghost ship.
Yeah, and I flew on my broom and I was looking in through the window like a real creep. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so when the weird guy with the shadow stuff came, his voice was cool. Matthias left, and he gave me a rod, and it had Deadra's soul in it. See?
And I hold it up, and
If you look right there in the jewel, she looks angry.
That looks like a soul.
Yeah, it's hers.
I like blow a raspberry at her.
Well, if it is, fuck you, I'm still alive. And he flicks
Not
off the
for long.
he flicks off the crystal.
You know, Orpheus, if shit hadn't hit the fan and you were corrupted by the limbo, I think you and I could have gotten along in another life.
Hey, considering that apparently I'm not corrupted by what's corrupting everybody else, I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
So you were... Then why did you do all this? What was your... You wanted to end the world, you want to die?
Well, I think that I had ascended. Better than you did, Deadra, by the way. He's like, he yells at Sylvie's rod. I was of limbo. I would have been fine. I could have just lived with all of the slotty, all my little hideous toads.
I love toads.
All because you didn't like rules.
Taken to extreme, yes, I admit.
Don't forget the daddy issues either.
I'm dramatic, and I told you it wasn't about daddy issues, Avantris. Are you wearing daddy's armor, by the way?
So I don't have that written down in my list of items, and I never actually put them on. I know that
Okay.
Sylvie said I could have them, but we put them in the bag.
Okay, so revoked. Did you find daddy's armor, by the way?
Oh yeah, I turned your room inside and out pretty well.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it. It was quite comfortable down there. You could have
I
stayed.
think your AC was broken. It's really hot in here.
Yeah, it's a volcano. I did the best I could. Come on.
Okay.
Now,
Is that it?
so it sounds like you don't know really what Deadra was trying to do.
I know.
We know that you did what you did because you wanted just cause being daddy issues, like Vandra said. And so at this
So not
point,
fair.
what do you have to offer us for your life?
I thought I told Angelin's mommy. Mommy issues, right?
I still just don't. Tell me again what you think you know.
I know that you mentioned poor mommy was taken, by fire giants. Very sad. I know where she probably is. At least where they keep most of their slaves doing horrendous back-breaking work with hobgoblins and hellhounds and fire elementals at their disposal, feeding them to the horrific beasts when they're no longer of use to them. I know how to get into their foundries, slipping past all of the guards, secret tunnel. Hellhounds that can sniff out invisibility were my main problem, but seeing how I can no longer go invisible, there may be other problems, but better than taking on the entire force of a fire giant army and the King's Guard.
And
Can you
how
start?
do you know about this tunnel? What were you doing there?
Oh, I do know. I was able to find the location of at least one of the other artifacts I was after. The hammer of the first forge. It's beautiful. The Duke that rules Svarog hammers away, and hellhounds and fire elementals and other creatures just waltz out from the plane of fire. Had I had that with the helm, and I could have figured out the rest. It would have been so much better.
Why didn't you procure it?
I said I figured out where the tunnel was.
So you never went.
Hellhounds that can sniff out invisibility.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can't kill a few hellhounds?
So let's say an alarm gets sounded. That's how you say
Sounded.
it. An alarm gets sounded. I have 100 hobgoblins maybe 50 fire giants on top of me in 5 minutes. I'm good. Or I was. I was so good. But not that good.
Then how do you propose we would get through this thing?
Well, I know where the tunnel is. We can figure something out.
What do you mean, we, pal?
Well, you need me to guide you to where the tunnel is.
So, say you came with us. What prevents you from trying to take the hammer, stealing the other artifact from us, and trying to do this whole thing all over again?
Because my whole plan was predicated on me being able to use them with my immense magical power, granted to me by the chaotic plane of limbo, which I seem to have lost. Just like I gained my hair, randomly.
How do we know it won't come back?
I have no idea. I was kind of in severe agonizing pain, but I felt it leave my body and shoot out of me and get sucked back into the tiny little hole as it closed up.
No.
I can't say that feeling is accurate, but it's a feeling.
More than a feeling.
Now, let's say we take you. We don't take you to Anzu. We take you to the secret tunnel. Then what? What do you require if you were to do this for us? What do you want?
Don't kill me, don't send me to Anzu.
And do what with you instead?
Once, I help Annulin's mother get free. And if I don't die in the process, I guess that'll be interesting.
What makes you think that she's still alive? If they do all these horrible things to the slaves that they take?
Well, those are the weak ones. You said that you're an elf and you're a wood elf. You folk are relatively sturdy. They can take more punishment. I think that most of the humans they go through pretty quickly, but I know that elves can break as well. If she's useful to them, then they have no reason to kill her.
Well,
We have a couple of options. Orpheus, are you feeling all right? Can we get you some water, perhaps? I'll be drinking the fine booze that I found in your room, but if you'd like some water, I might be able to do something for you.
You are such a bastard. Can I have some water,
I know.
please? I'll take water. Any booze you have would be just delightful, but
I'll turn to the rest of the group
I'm the
and I'll
prisoner.
say, if we have any other questions, we should ask him now. I fully intend to keep interrogating him, even if he is no longer under the charm later, but we're probably running out of time. I think we should leave. If no one has any other questions, we should leave some of the crew to just keep an eye on him, and the four of us need to discuss some things.
well, I think that's fine, and we have days left, so we need to figure out, what are we going to do about this gigantic dragon turtle? And then if we think of anything else, we can always come back. And I think looking at that pocket watch, making sure that there's nothing that he's...
Agreed. I just don't want to discuss any more in front of
Right.
him.
All right.
as soon as you mention pocket watch, his eyes kind of dart to you and then dart back at Avantris, and kind of there's a little bit of intensity there, and then kind of looks back down at the ground.
Does the pocket watch make you sad? We're friends. We should confide in each other. Did your pet turtle die? My pet halfling died.
He looks at you, and there's a little bit of resolve. The spell definitely worked, but it's still Orpheus. He hesitates, and you can almost see him trying to struggle. And he nods, and he says something like that.
Yeah. I had a rough childhood too. So we don't have to talk about it.
Thank you. That's why we're friends.
That's why we're friends.
Anyway, I think we'll leave you bound, but perhaps...
Thank you. That's what I'm into.
You don't have to tell me that.
Does that not make you want to free me?
No.
Worth a shot.
Let
If
us
you
know...
like it, we want to make you happy, so it's better that you stay in bounds, right?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we should probably go, though.
Let us know if you're hungry or thirsty.
I'm hungry,
We'll keep
and I would
you-
like some alcohol and some water. And
Well, we'll bring you some water and some food, and that's about all you'll get for now.
And a
Or
bath.
maybe we can haggle over the booze.
Here, I prestidigitation him.
You don't need a bath now, because you're clean.
That'll do.
They're staying bound for now. So where is he right now?
I think we'd left it off that he was in your quarters, Rodek, because you were kind of basically carrying him around.
Well, do we all have individual quarters, or...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, that's right.
The captain's quarters were set up
for, yeah, that's right, never mind. So
Okay.
you were in the party's quarters.
I'm fine with leaving him here as long as he's incarcerated.
I'll leave Lumi with him to watch him.
That's a great idea. Leave him here, and do we know if there's a key to these quarters? I don't like the idea of these crooks, if they still have some kind of beef with him, just coming in and chopping his head off. I say that loud enough for Orpheus to hear me.
How big?
No.
How
Poor
big are the
lizards.
quarters?
What?
How big are the quarters?
I mean, they're pretty considerable for quarters on a ship. This was a medium-sized vessel, and this would have been like where the captain would have stayed, had his office, had his sleeping chambers. So, I mean, it's, probably, I don't know, 20 by 30, something like that. I don't know.
I think we should also be careful about, and I'm kind of whispering this off to the side, but I don't want him to charm someone. He's got a silver tongue, so we should be careful about who we leave here with him.
So the other option is I can spend about 10 minutes and I can cast my little tiny hut, and then we can go into it and we can see and watch him, but he can't hear us.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not bad. Go on.
Go on
The
what?
powwow.
Go ahead and do that. It doesn't take any energy, does it?
No.
Then let's do that. We'll get you some food. We'll get you some water. We'll figure out the booze situation.
Please.
And so I go
How
out.
about Rodek and I go get the food, and you ladies keep an eye on Orpheus for us, and Sylvia will prepare the hut.
Okay. So as I
Come
prepare
on,
the
Renee.
hut,
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance around in the circle that I'm doing it.
She's a brick hut. She's matty.
And I'm just gonna sing that while I make my hut for 10 minutes. Angel's getting increasingly more irritated because I'm just saying the same lines over and over again.
Orpheus kind of looks irritated, and then he just eventually starts nodding along to it. After you heard it for the 8,000th time, it's not so bad.
Yeah, thanks. She's a brick hut. She's matty.
Both Rodek and Vandris, as you're leaving to go down into the store, you see kind of a shape stand up, and you see Ganji standing there, and he seems to be clutching something, and it seems like a circular metal disc, and he kind of clutches it. It's how are things going?
They're going fine. Are you all right?
No, I'm fine. I'm just praying. I haven't had a chance to pray in so long.
We are just going to get the captives some food and water, and figured that we'd leave everyone here to watch the prisoner, more or less.
Okay, good plan. Please do not torture him, Vandris. I know you like to collect fingers.
That's in my past now, man. I'm hopefully I've grown as a person, and I won't have to resort to that so much moving forward. But maybe give him a once over, make sure medically he's looking okay. I don't know if you and the Sylvie can work together to detect any kind of potential magic energy that he may still have. We just need to keep a close eye on him.
Good idea. Bahamut has rubbed off on you, his guidance.
Yeah, we'll see.
He,
Doubtful.
he says, I will go help Sylvie and Manuel. And he goes and he walks up the stairs and joins you in the room. He will just say, for the sake of brevity, he does a check on Orpheus. While Orpheus is still charmed, and he seems to be very exhausted, but I sense no magic here.
Yeah.
While Sylvie's making his tent, I want to have Sunny and Scramble come over, and I'm gonna just try to have him sit there and say "sit," and see if I can get her to squawk at him or try to intimidate him with their little bird voices.
So Sunny and Scramble are in your quarters.
Yeah, they're happy.
Oh, so they're hanging out, and so as they run kind of run after him. They look a little bit confused. Their necks are darting about. They're tilting their head as they're looking, and then he's kind of recoiling as he looks up to them and says, "Oh, this is so unpleasant. They're not going to eat me, right?"
I don't know. I haven't fed them in a while.
Well, they're a lot cuter than their disgusting mother.
I'm gonna start chewing up some food to feed them later.
Gross.
Ugh. Golly, you people. And I thought I was weird.
Yeah, we're something else.
Okay, and you return with food and beverage.
Well, so
I just wanted to have a brief moment with Rodek.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
More or less. So just while we're grabbing food, I want to say to him, so listen, I have several concerns that I do want to address with the rest of the group. But namely, I'm not comfortable as long as Orpheus is alive and not in the hands of the royal family.
And that's fair, and I think we've gone through a lot, but based on all the evidence we have so far, it's clear that he doesn't have the power he once did.
DM note. I went through my handy-dandy notebook, and it was the head of Orpheus Rhadamanthus.
Okay.
The head of Orpheus Rhadamanthus and the scepter.
Got both. One's still attached to the body, though. Okay, so
And that's the scepter.
I also recognize that it's not exactly, practical for us to up and head all the way back to Ons. I realize it's a complete potential opposite direction from where this potential tunnel may be, and I just wanted to get your 2 cents before we talk to the rest of the group.
So here's my thought on this, and why I'm so especially concerned about keeping him alive. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really care about the gold or the platinum, and I don't really care about the royal family of Anzu. I wanted to stop his plan. And I believe we've done that. I believe, in my mind, he's a very smooth talker, but I don't think that Orpheus is a risk to the entire world at this point. Perhaps he is, but at this point, based on what we know, I don't believe he is.
So while I agree with you, and I'm uncomfortable with leaving him alive, if he was truly no longer capable of doing any harm, then I suppose that I may be able to be convinced not to murder him. I would like the gold, but I'm also quite concerned that if the royal family would ever find out that I didn't follow through with the bounty, I caught him and then I let him go, that then I may be the one whose head is then requested on a silver platter.
Right, and again, I don't know the details on how brutal they are with all that. But what I will say is that if this might be Annulin's only chance to save her mother. Her only chance.
That's true.
And to sort of throw that away and then say, oh yeah, we'll go in and kill hundreds of fire giants and tons of fire elementals, no problem. When we could have a back door, we slip in, grab her and we leave. This is probably her only chance. So I agree, I feel uncomfortable leaving him alive, totally. And so perhaps we make a detour, we see how it goes, we see if he survives the whole thing, and we play
Maybe we
it
just
by
leave the decision up to Annulin.
Right.
See what she thinks.
Right. And I think that's fine. I don't think that we're going to get another good shot unless we spend however long he spent researching all this. And he's probably, I would guess, better at researching than we are. It would probably take us 10 times as long to find that same secret tunnel if we ever could.
You're probably right. All right.
So again, that's my, and I would enjoy the platinum for sure. I know that the bounty has been your goal, but I think that we've accomplished the biggest goal already. Meaning we've stopped Limbo from tearing the world apart. And again, we can have this discussion with Annulin, and I think that you should throw in your 2 cents, and Sylvie probably has something to say about this. And quickly, would I have noticed anything strange about what Ganji was holding in his hand? In his hands? Would it seem off to me? Was that?
Make an intelligence check.
Oh, 19.
You remember that Ganji, while you were in Gullhaven, had gotten an additional holy symbol that wasn't his shield, and it seemed to be that he was clutching.
Oh, okay. So it wouldn't have seemed weird at all. All right. Well, let's go down to the galley. We'll get some food, and
we'll head back.
We can head
Agreed.
back.
And then once we're in the hut, we'll readdress and namely look at that pocket watch, which again I promise I wasn't keeping from everyone. I just wanted to.
I know how you are, lad. That's totally fine. I'm mainly concerned that it's some ticking time bomb that's going to explode and kill us all. That kind of thing.
I honestly think that it's probably just a sentimental piece to Orpheus, truly, but we'll find out.
All right. So we go down. We'll come back up. And so is Ganji there with us now, or did he?
Ganji's there. He's been not, I guess, oddly quiet because he's usually fairly quiet, but looks a little bit distracted.
Well, Sylvie, would you like to use your mage hand to feed Orpheus?
Sure.
Can you use mage hand while we're in the bubble? Could mage hand be outside?
Let me check.
Can Lumi feed Orpheus? I know that she probably would. Maybe she would enjoy doing it if she stubs, some bread up his nose.
She would pinch me later. She
they
doesn't
don't
like
do that.
physical contact with people.
I wouldn't ask her
I
to
see.
do that.
And she pinches really hard because she's got tiny fingers, so her nails get right in there in the tiny pockets of your skin, and it's awful. No, I can't.
You can't.
No, not when I'm inside.
He can wait to eat. He won't die while we have a discussion.
That's fine. I was trying to be.
But I'm really thirsty.
We don't care.
I
Shut
will
up.
give you some water before I go inside.
And so I'll
Thank
use
you.
my mage hand to give him some water.
Okay. You make a dex check for your mage hand.
Ah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Just straight.
21.
Okay. So it actually manages to fall into his mouth. He just drinks. Oh, thank God. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Goodbye now. She's a brick. Hut.
And I wink at him, and then I just like strut into the human's tiny
He's kind of tapping his head slightly.
At least make it brick colored.
I like pink.
and so I'm gonna make it pink.
You all disappear into the pink dome as Orpheus is right by there. You see Sunny and Scramble chewing up the food that Annulin had chewed up and eating, and kind of eyeing Orpheus, recoiling and trying to shuffle away from them, or it. Okay, and you are within the tiny hut.
All right, first things first. I pull out the pocket watch, and I just hold it out, and I say, "Can you use the wand on this to detect magic?"
Okay.
So I will use my wand to detect magic.
You do detect magic. And I will tell you what kind of magic it is in 1 second.
Sorry, guys. I should have been prepared for this. You should have expected.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate this. Conjuration.
I detect some
Interesting.
conjuration magic.
I told this could be very dangerous.
Look, it's not evocation. It's
Oh.
nothing. Maybe
I know, it conjures turtles, just like I thought.
Well, can you inspect it a little for a while, and hopefully we can see what it has?
Can I
Just
touch
don't
it?
open it.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna sit there and I'm just gonna hold it while we're in here and like
Okay.
inspect it, look at it.
So you're going to spend an hour inspecting?
Yeah.
Okay. So you spend an hour inspecting it without opening it.
Yep.
And you're looking at it, and so if you remember, there's this elegantly carved sigil that seemed to be in the shape of a turtle on it, but it also seemed to have designs and kind of filigrees of the shape of what looked like claws and gears. And on the back is the etching of 4 Mile Little Turtle, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the silver pocket watch with the chain, you kind of channel in on the magic of it, and you figure out that it's this thing.
Oh boy.
And can we also say that we were just like talking and planning during this hour too?
Yeah.
Sylvie, I will let you read it.
Lorna's last kindness. It's a wondrous item. It's very rare. There's probably only one of these in existence. It requires attunement. While holding this silver pocket watch, you may speak its command word, remember, to cast the teleportation circle spell. You regain use of this item the following dawn.
That sly bastard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how he got home.
Yep.
That's how he used it.
So it's almost worthless now at this point.
Given that there's no... You all disrupted the circle that you found, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that
Correct.
it can't potentially go to another teleportation circle.
Alright.
We have this chalks. Can we make our own?
Yeah.
We could. And that means once a day we could head back home.
Well,
Like whatever home would be.
one person can.
So, Sylvie, something that you notice, that you would notice about this, is that this pocket watch, you're familiar with pocket watches as a gnome, despite not being a rock gnome, and you notice you're used to them ticking, and this does not tick.
Yeah. It's so weird because this pocket watch doesn't tick, so I don't think it's meant to tell time.
Shall we go ahead and open it?
Okay.
And I just open it without waiting to see
Oh,
if they say
Jesus.
okay.
I'm gonna dive towards the door.
Yeah, me too.
You open it,
Rock and
and
roll.
as soon as she opens it, you notice kind of a glow from inside. And it opens, and you see a pocket watch that has a clock face. It has numerals for 12, or rather 1 through 12. And one of the numbers is glowing. The 12 seems to be dark. And the hour hand seems to be, and the minute hand seem to be pointed directly at the 12, and it's dark. The 1, however, is glowing with a greenish, kind of purplish, undulating sort of glow. Not super radiant and bright, but this kind of strange pulsing magic on this. On the inside of the lid, or whatever you call it on a pocket watch, you actually see that there is a little glass paneling and a circular portrait of what appears to be a gnomish woman. She seems to be in her middle-aged, maybe a little bit past middle-aged, and it is color-eyed. She has fair skin and dark hair, pulled back into braids, and she seems to be smiling, posing, looking at whatever person illustrated her, and it's circular in this part.
Well, that's probably Lorna.
You think it was a middle-aged gnome?
Well, that
It's
is a
possible
picture
he
of a
just
middle-aged
used her as a
woman.
mother figure.
Could be. I just didn't take him for the type. It seems like
I
they had
mean,
a
either.
little
This
connect.
is
Maybe.
shocking.
Maybe he's into
Maybe
that.
his mom is a gnome and his dad is a tiefling.
Is that even possible?
Is that
Probably
what,
not.
What? I thought they were all humans.
What?
I thought tieflings and all those other weird half things came all from humans, right?
What?
I don't know how this works. What do you think the glowing green one is?
I think it's conjuration magic.
Can you move the minute hand and the hour hand to any of the other numbers?
I tried to move them to the general.
You notice that there is a
Little dial.
little knob, and it
There's
adjusts.
a term for that.
What is it?
I forget what it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. If chat wants to let us know. And it does move.
Oh, it's called a crown.
Yeah.
The crown, yeah. The crown moves really, actually, shockingly quickly, and both the minute and the you manage to just twist it enough to that it gets to the minute, and the hour stops at the 1, and it locks into a color. So you kind of notice that it was like kind of purples and greens and oranges and this strange color, and it locked, into this kind of pulsating blue.
Move it to the 2. Keep going.
Okay. So I'll move it to the 2.
You move it to the 2. The color, the 1, goes back to its strange kind of swirling, different variety of colors. And the 2 does not light up.
So only the 1 is lit up.
Only the 1 is lit up.
Go around the
Put
whole
it back to 1.
Okay, I'll put it back to
1, back to blue.
Go around all
Well,
the
you
different.
could do it too.
Oh, all right. I take it and I start spinning it.
The 1 stays glowing, but kind of is rotating through every color you can kind of imagine. And then the other ones do not light up.
How much you want to bet each one of those numbers is a different teleportation circle, and all of them are broken except for that one?
Well, that
Lights
was my guess. I agree with
I
you.
think you're exactly right.
because it's active and it's looking for teleportation circles on all the other hands. Just a guess.
And now, shall we ask Orpheus if this is what this is?
No.
And you would have noticed while you're doing this that you've seen the kind of that slight gloss over him, despite him still being Orpheus, kind of it eliminating the charm wore off. And you kind of see him shouting at you, not angrily, but you get the sense that the charm did wear off.
He knows. I wonder if he'll still be my friend.
I did it.
Probably.
Well, while we are in here, Avantris, do you think we should talk
Yeah.
about our plan?
So basically, I give them the quick overview of the conversation that I had with Rodak while we were going to the larder, and I basically say I want to hear. I think it should be Annulin's decision, but I would like to hear what Sylvie and Ganji have to say. I'm just concerned that the longer we keep him alive, that there's always a chance that he becomes a danger again, and then if it's ever found out that I had Orpheus in my grasp and I let him go for any reason, that I could become a criminal.
Well, my personal opinion is I don't really care either way. It's really up to Titania what I do. So, I haven't heard from her in a while, but if she guides me towards Annulin's mom, I'll go towards Annulin's mom. If she guides me towards the death of Orpheus, I'll head there. And if she tells me that I should kill all of you in your sleep and escape in the middle of the night, then that's what I'll do.
I would hope that she would never tell you to do that.
No, but the Fae can be fickle creatures.
Noted.
Well, I didn't believe him before. I had closed off, that part of my heart that was holding out for her to be alive. But after what he told us today, I think that she could be, and I'm starting to, have that little glimmer of hope. I know that this bounty is important to you, and it's something you've been fighting for a very long time. And I don't want to say that we can't take him there, but I think I want to go find my mom first.
I am not going to rob you of that opportunity. As much as I love money and I love the adventure and the treasures, I'm not going to take that chance away from you. So if you want Orpheus to lead us to this cavern, then I can't say no. But I'm letting you know if anything were to happen to him, but there's a potential we all become criminals. I don't know what Anzu's capable of. I don't know what the protocol would be. It could get ugly, but I'm certainly not going to kill him as long as he's of use to any of us.
Ganji speaks up. He says, well, I am not in the business of executing a defenseless prisoner.
And I believe I would echo that sentiment. I feel the same way. I think that, if they want to take his head from his body and they want to turn him in, then we can let them do the decapitation unless you would really like to, Avantris. But I would, like I mentioned to you downstairs, I think that, Annulin, we should do this for you. You've been with us for the past almost a year now. I think this is our chance. This is your chance to save your mother. So,
I just feel like I have to try, and I would gladly give up, my portion of his bounty to get that opportunity and have your support.
Well, I'm gonna go wherever you guys go. Like we've discussed, I'm kind of over bounty hunting. I'm certainly not squeamish, and I'm not beyond killing someone, but to behead Orpheus now at this point for no reason, and to rob you of the chance of finding your family would be quite cruel. So we'll keep him alive for a while. I just want you all to be aware that there are potential repercussions, that's all.
do you think, Avantris, do you think someone in Gullhaven would know Anzu well enough to, or perhaps you do, like, would Anzu have, like, guards out in the world that would recognize Orpheus and that would, like, do we need to kind of lay low if we were to take him with us? Or would he be unknown enough to the like, sort of random Anzu guard out in the world?
I think that, and just correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike, if I say anything stupid. I would say that, these bounties are generally public information, but I had been contacted directly by the royal family, so I don't know how many people actually know about this bounty outside of, the ones who requested it. There's a chance that with all the crazy things that have been going on, that people might recognize him, or he may never be noticed. I, as a bounty hunter, thinking as a bounty hunter, would say that we would want to make it as little known as possible, just in case there's anyone else out there looking for him.
That's fair.
Could we disguise him somehow?
Without his cooperation, probably not.
Well, I think it's worth it, given that we're offering at least his life in return for this, if we're fine doing that. But again, I guess that begs the question of, let's say we go through this, he survives, we save Annulin's mother, then what? I think at that point we can't then just go turn them in and kill him, because that would just be treacherous, right? Like it would be completely disingenuous.
I agree. It would be kind of backhanded, to say the least, if we were to then cash in his life for platinum.
It's tough. Well,
I'm honestly just worried what Anzu will do to me.
I wouldn't worry about that. And honestly, even if Orpheus happens to regain his power, we handled him once before, with his ascended state, I think even if he became a sorcerer again, we could find a way to kill him.
Oh, God, please. That can't ever be an option.
It's
literally can't.
It's not.
But at the very least, we may be able to return the relic to Anzu and say that Orpheus got away. We could lie. Right. I'm not comfortable. I don't know. He would have to prove that he's even able to be rehabilitated. I'm not sure. We have time. I mean, we've got several days on this craft, and if we do take him to the fire giants may do my job for me. And as long as I grab his head, then that's all that will matter.
We wouldn't have taken any of the... Did all of the corpses of the Slotty get sucked into the portal?
It was difficult. No, they didn't. Just the living ones.
But we wouldn't have had any on the boat, right?
No.
We have the decomposing one that's in our pack.
That's
basically like a disgusting.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's slime, effectively.
I put some of it inside of fecal deck.
Well, here's a thought. What if we go through with this? We could always decapitate one of those Slotty and ask Ratley to... Ganji could send a sending message and ask them just to keep a body of one of these frog creatures. And we decapitate and we'll say that Orpheus turned into... We could be honest about his master plan, but he turned into one of these frog creatures. We cut his head off, and this is the head of Orpheus.
Well, it's not a bad plan. It's better than outright lying entirely. We return the artifact, we we make something up, we present some sort of false body. I don't hate it. It's a very Avantris plan. I like that.
Well, it's just an option. We don't have to discuss it further right now, but I think that if when we get back to Gullhaven, that's what we want to do, we can always send a sending spell. Unless we're worried that they're going to dispose of all the Slotty corpses before we get back.
They probably will. It'll be days, I would think.
Just to be safe, Genji, would you mind sending...
No, I can do that, yes. And he says a little prayer, his hands glow a little bit, his eyes glow, that platinum light. And he says, save a head of the frog creature that you found in the volcano layer, please. And, save it on ice for us. And then a couple minutes later, he says, they say they will do that.
Well...
All right. Well, I think that we've got a lot of time to kill on this boat. We could potentially talk to Orpheus. I'm sure we can think of more questions to ask him. Maybe we interrogate him a bit about the watch, or we pretend like we don't know what it does.
Well, here's the thing. He believes, and I'm inclined to agree with him, that the dragon turtle, and I know I keep bringing this up, is still swimming around and could possibly be headed straight towards us in the next 5 seconds. So it would be nice to know that if we needed to get away via some sort of teleportation, it'd be great to know how this works and where it goes.
I'm fine with interrogating him more and trying to see if we can get some information out of him. But I know one of our planned C's back in the day was to have Ganji touch the turtle and banish it. I don't know if we still want to risk that. It's an option, right? It's our last resort if we don't have any other way to.
Right, and that's fair. I would rather not risk it. We've been through a lot. We've fought a lot. Risking, it would eat Sylvie and Ganji in one bite.
Well, I don't think that's true. It would be probably a quarter of a bite for me. I'm a gnome.
Fair. Good point. But my point is, I think it's with, and if he doesn't control it, when I know how this works, like if he's not in possession of it, he can't say like the command word, right, and activate it
until someone. Technically, he would be attuned to it until someone else attunes to it.
Would anyone like to attune to this?
No. I said I only wanted it if it produced turtles.
Well, I'll hang on to it. There's something extra vindictive about me keeping something of Orpheus's that he holds dear.
Especially if you're holding it while you're wearing his dad's pants.
We can discuss that later. Now that I know that it's Orpheus's father's, I'm not so inclined to put that armor on.
Well, I'll take it if you don't want it.
Yeah, we can discuss for sure. I'm interested in that watch.
Are you going to attune to it?
Hell yeah.
Okay. So you're going to spend the hour in attuning to it.
Sure, for now. And if anybody else wants it, we can always pass it around. It might make Orpheus cry. It might be fun.
So as you attune to it, you feel a sense of kind of magical knowledge immediately come to your brain. You're as a high elf, you have innate magical ability. You've only been able to get it to use your magical items as well as produce green flame blade. However, you finally feel as if you can cast an additional spell. You suddenly know how teleportation circle as a spell works. You suddenly know if you picked up a piece of chalk, you could draw on the ground a 10-foot by 10-foot circle of strange innate magical runes that you would then be able to activate. And you know that the pocket watch has 12 possible destinations. And that each one of those destinations is connected to a permanent teleportation circle. and you know you kind of fiddle with it, and you swap it to 1, and as it glows, you immediately know the runic pattern that's connected to that location, that permanent teleportation circle.
Alright, guys. I don't want to freak anybody out, but all of a sudden I know a whole lot more about this pocket watch, and it's pretty fascinating. I suddenly have pictures and runes in my brain, and I can draw things. I understand how it works. This is incredible. I think I understand why Orpheus devoted his life to knowledge. It's like my brain is exploding. It's crazy.
Thank God you're a high elf lad. And I slap you on the back. So where does it go? Do you know?
I look to the GM, to God. What do I know? Do I know,
You don't know. You don't know where it goes. You just know basically what it takes to get there.
Okay, so I know that there are 12 permanent locations.
Possible. So it's basically slots. It's full on like metagame. We're just that basically this pocket watch that there are teleportation circles around in the world, and it's possible to create them. And so like maybe like a guild hall or some magical area, you know that Anzu would have teleportation circles like in their schools or that or in their royal areas. And so you can basically learn the circular pattern and remember it and basically put it in one of those slots.
So as it stands now, I know one runic pattern.
Correct.
And it doesn't go anywhere.
No, it goes someplace. If you were to cast it, a portal would open up to wherever that is.
Okay, so then it's not like right now that's an open slot, and if I were to draw the rune, I could move it.
You could probably figure out how to move it around. Like
Rehearth.
Yeah, basically. So I'll just also kind of give you the context there. Actually, roll intelligence check for me.
Gladly. What a time to roll a natty 20. My int is +6 though, so 26.
So, when you opened it, it was set directly at 12. You get the sense that whatever magical circle you dispelled was 12.
Aha! Okay, so then I fill in the rest of the gang about this. Alright, so 12 was Orpheus's home lair. That's how he got home. The 1 goes somewhere else. The other numbers, they're up to us. We could potentially find places to attune the watch to and have new locations to go to. But I could take us to where 1 goes. Do I know that I can take more than 1 person, or is it teleportation just like a single person?
No, yes, you know that, well, teleportation is, but teleportation circle, I'm going to read you the spell right now.
This is very exciting.
Yeah,
this is very exciting. I almost don't care about the armor now. This watch is so much better than I ever could have imagined.
Sorry, you can probably Google 5e teleportation circle, but I'll just tell you how it works. So it's a 10-foot diameter. So it's a 10-foot diameter. You draw it. It costs 50 gold every time you use it. So you need all of the chalks and magical reagents, and when you draw that, you need 50 gold, or precious, you need 50 gold that basically it gets consumed by the spell, and then it lasts 1 round, so a portal opens up for 1 round, for 6 seconds, and it allows anybody in that 10-foot diameter in 1 round to go through that portal into wherever it goes.
Perfect. So by drawing the runic circle that is now in my brain and giving away, spending 50 gold, we can all go wherever this 1 goes.
Correct.
Holy crap.
So we could have, had we not destroyed it, had a way to teleport back to Undertow Isle.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think what we did is fine.
Right. It was.
We couldn't risk it, right?
We couldn't risk it. And do we want to teleport into the middle of a volcano? We don't know if it explodes or.
Well, the thing is, if Avantris had just told us about the watch when we were there, then we would have known what the risks were, and we wouldn't have had to destroy it. But I don't want to point fingers for people keeping things from everybody else. But
No,
there are
we made the correct
consequences,
decision.
Vandris.
I appreciate your input, but we made the correct decision.
Consequences.
It could go both ways. But anyway, I think we need to interrogate. This is one thing that Orpheus could tell us. Is that this may be our chance to escape the gigantic behemoth in the ocean right now, if we need to.
All right. I'll be happy to relinquish the duties of interrogation expert and let one of you step up for a change.
Would anyone else like to speak to him?
No.
I suppose I will. And real quick, Ganji, I assume you have enough energy for this. Could you send another spell, and maybe Gang, you can help me out. Who in Gullhaven would, I guess, Amalia? Would she? Who in Gullhaven would know if there have been sightings or word of kind of continued ship disappearances?
The Malia would probably know.
So why don't you go ahead and send her a message? Ask her if there's been any recent sightings or ships being lost, or even merchant vessels that never knew that were coming in that were lost. Any kind of information we can, and that will help us moving forward.
I'll do that. Hold on. And so he uses mind. I guess actually he doesn't speak it. It's in his right. It's in his mind. So he casts a message of 25 words. He waits. He waits. About probably 5-6 minutes later, his eyes widen, and he looks up and he says, "If what I'm understanding this correctly, the dragon turtle is very much there, and their trade routes are cut off, and the people of Gullhaven are starving without the shipping. It's apparently very dire."
Well, I suppose I shouldn't have been surprised by this, given that it's an entire port town that no longer has a port.
It sounds like we can't ignore this. We're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. You know, like Genji and I said to begin with, let's banish the damn thing.
And that's fair, and I think, again, how long does teleportation circle take to draw or cast?
I thought he said, I don't know, is it like
I think
a
it's
ritual
10
thing, like
minutes.
10 minutes?
I think it's 10 minutes.
So unfortunately we can't use it in an emergency.
Not unless we had it prepared and ready to go. I imagine I could pre-draw something and then just spend the gold and jump in.
Yeah, I would say that. You flip it, you cast it,
Alright.
and you say the word.
The word.
Well, let's go out and we will ask a few more questions. How does that sound?
Yeah, let's try to find out where this thing goes. He has to know. So I'll let you lead and I'll stand behind you and look
Alright.
menacingly.
So I step out.
Did your little breakfast club bring you joy as you watched me struggle against this horrible bird creature?
Oh, we weren't watching you. We were too busy looking at your pocket watch.
Did you enjoy your meal? Or have we fed you yet?
No.
No, we haven't fed you yet.
You did charm me, though. And I got a drink of water. That was nice. No
So-
booze, though.
Answer a few more questions and we'll make sure to get you a meal.
Are we still friends?
Am I still tied up?
Well, yeah, but sometimes friends have to do difficult things to prove their friendship. We talked about this when you were charmed, don't you remember?
Yeah, it's a little less convincing now that I'm feeling the rope burn. You know how
Yeah,
it
but I
is.
still meant everything that I said.
I appreciate that.
He still has like recollection of everything. Right. Well, again, cooperate. You'll keep your hair. You'll eat just fine. So your best friend here, Avantris, took a moment and communed with your watch,
Great.
and he's now attuned to it. And I'm sure you know what
I
that
felt
means.
it, yes.
This is mine now, baby. This is my watch.
So you know what we know. It can teleport us seemingly where there are teleportation circles elsewhere. And there seems to be one kind of set already in the watch, is that right?
Well, if you know how it works, I guess. It doesn't do me any good to not be forthcoming. That was my last option. And now that's gone.
Where?
Take a guess.
To your daddy's?
No.
Oh.
God,
To Gullhaven?
no. You may have been there.
To that filthy, disgusting house?
Oh God, you're gonna make us go back to the Kench?
I'm not making you do anything. You're drawing your own conclusions.
I need you to answer me. Does it go to the Kench?
It might be beneath the water there, yes.
I think you teased that too, didn't you?
It's in your best interest to give us all the information you have. Because this may be our one way to get back to Gullhaven alive. Do you understand?
And what are you going to do about all your lizard friends?
They can all come with us, can't they? Or no, is there a cap? Would we have known? Is there like a cap?
You're going to
Let me go
unleash a whole entire crew. It's a 10 by 10, and everyone will need to pile through in 6 seconds. In a 10...
So we could theoretically coordinate it, right?
That sounds like a fucking
That was the most
disaster.
dumb lizard folk.
So if we had to do that, then we'd lose the boat. So if that's going to be the case, we should just tell them to turn around and go home.
Yeah.
I kind of was hoping to give the boat to Amira so she might not kill me.
I was too, but if we end up having to teleport, we don't get to take it with us anyway.
Well, we...
Might as well save the lives of the lizards and let them go home.
You could give her that little boat in your pocket.
That's backup plan B, I suppose. But one, I don't want to
Thank you, you have to
two,
do
I don't
it.
want to hit people, and three, I think we need to deal with this turtle. I don't think we can just run away from the problem.
Yeah, but it sounds like the turtle's back in Gullhaven, so it sounds like we have to get there to deal with it.
It is
That which we're doing.
right outside.
How do you know?
That's what Deidre had it do.
So she gave it orders, and it's still obeying her orders, even though she's long dead at this point.
That's what she said. I don't know. It's how the helmet works.
Maybe she's not dead.
What was the order she gave again?
To make sure nothing gets in and out of Gullhaven, of that harbor. Mostly out.
Well, do we approach and try to deal? I mean, Ganji, what do you know about these things? Do we have any possibility? I know we could try to banish it. What are the odds? Do we have any hope in fighting it?
Can you do an Arcana check for me on Genji?
Yeah, focus stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll just do it quick. I'm gonna assume. Oh, natty 20, but that'll be fine. He thinks for a moment and says, "Well, I know that in my studies, the Dragonborn that had this helmet, that made this helmet, were calling forth dragon turtles from the elemental plane of water in order to use them as weapons of war. And from what little bit, I have not looked too much at it, for it has a great, tremendous power. There stands to reason that if it was able to give it orders and summon forth, it should be able to potentially send it back."
While they're talking about this, can I do a sleight of hand to try and get into the bag of holding and pull out the helmet, the Eyes of the Abyss?
From Rodek?
Yeah.
Okay,
While he's
sleight
like
of
talking
hand,
to.
perception.
It's like on me.
Silly small.
Yeah.
Ooh.
14?
Ooh, I rolled a 2.
Oh no!
That would be an 8.
Everyone is so intent,
It's like
intensely
she's at my
focused.
side,
Yeah.
like crossing my arms, and she's
With the
like,
help of my mage hand, I'm like
I mean,
reading
we'll say
into
you guys have been on a boat for a couple days, or like a day or so.
Yeah.
Like, you would have put the bag of holding
That's
down.
true. Yeah.
So like Sylvie just like everyone's so intent on what Ganji's saying that Sylvie, you just managed to go in and find the Eyes of the Abyss.
I want to put it on.
Okay. You grab it and you feel like a magical power, and you put it on, and it feels like there's a whole bunch of magic all around you. But it's not as nothing else seems to happen. It feels like you kind of feel as if there is a heightened element about magic around you, but you're not sure what type. Actually, do an Arcana check for me.
23.
23.
22.
You
I like
get,
22.
you get the sense that there is some kind of heightening of magical ability that comes with that, but of what kind, it's very difficult to tell, at least initially. But it feels like this magic is pulsing in around your head, and you almost feel as if it's kind of around your person.
Okay. I'm just gonna like sit behind Rodak, just kind of like humming along to the hum of the magic. Just kind of not even worrying about them or really listening to them. I'm just kind of like focusing on the helmet and imagining the dragon turtle, and just watery things.
Okay.
And I guess I don't notice any of this. Would Orpheus have seen it? Is he like?
I'll roll. Nope. He's just looking at you guys.
Well,
So are we confident in his answer about this going back to his, slum in the Kench?
well, I think it's a few things. It's that wouldn't make sense. If I were Orpheus, that's where I would put it. And he hasn't really. I feel like he hasn't been lying to us. I think he truly fears for his life.
Well, I don't think he's probably really scared for his life too.
I turn.
I'm just
You
sitting
put
there.
that on? Are you alive?
Yeah, the walls, it's dark in here and it feels like magic.
I look at Ganji. Do you?
It's like gigantic in comparison to me.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Like
you,
it looks like Nautilus's head on Lulu's body.
So Ganji just said that it would make sense that the helm could possibly.
Yeah, the helmet, I guess, is basically the size of you. Like, it's
Yeah.
nearly, it's very nearly the
Basically,
size
you
of
just
Sylvie.
see my little feet sticking
Yeah.
out from under the helmet as I'm
Yeah.
sitting there wearing
Yeah,
it.
effectively.
That
Are you
sounds
okay?
adorable.
Are you okay, Sylvie?
Yeah, it's really cool in here. It sounds like magic, but I like it a lot.
And then you can hear me like dinging on the inside of the thing with my hands.
So nothing happened beyond it feeling magical?
No, it feels like magic, and my whole body feels like magic. Even my little feet that are sticking out from under it feel like magic.
And you guys tell me I do stupid things. Unbelievable. You could have gotten us all killed.
Yeah, and you have tried that before, so we all get one. Okay, bye. Ding, ding, ding.
Do you feel? I mean, so Genji was just saying that wearing the helmet might be able to give us power to send the dragon turtle back to the plane of water.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the dragon turtle, but I don't think that I could do it. I'm just in the helmet.
I look at Genji. Do you think it requires? I mean, obviously Diadra had a tie to the whole plane. Is it, given that it's an old dragonborn helmet, do you think it needs to be a dragonborn?
She wasn't the dragonborn.
Well, she wasn't, but why do you think it wouldn't work?
Maybe because I'm attuned to too many things.
Genji, what do you think?
When I held it, it seemed like it was too powerful for someone of my ability to at least use the way that she did. But it did feel magical, and we may be able to figure out some way to do it without potentially using its full power.
All right.
Like a conduit, I think is what he means.
That's how I used it. I mean, I don't have my own. That's how I used it. Orpheus is all up here. Like I can't roleplay without him.
You're just going.
Yeah.
Well, Anilin, perhaps you're right. Perhaps we just send these crocodiles home. And I don't see any other way unless you want to try your plan. Genji, maybe you're right. Maybe we just use the teleportation circle. We go back to Gullhaven, assuming Orpheus is telling the truth. You better be. And we take it to Vito. And, Vito, he specializes in these sorts of things. So he might have better odds.
Can we tell the lizard folk to continue sailing to Gullhaven? If we can clear the way, then we can potentially get me from not dying to Amiria.
Well, I wonder if we use it as like a conduit, and we use it to enhance Genji's vanish ability, and he can do it from farther away. Maybe, Genji, do you think that would work? Ding, 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 ding.
My little feet are like going
Can
back
you roll
and
an
forth.
Arcana check for Sylvie and Ganji?
Sure. I'll be the glittery one. Oh, sorry, Ganji. Ganji's is an 8. And Sylvie's is a 22.
22.
Yeah, 22.
Okay, as you say that, Ganji taps on his dragon chin, and he nods and says, "That might work. Do you know how that may work?"
No.
Ding, 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 ding. Would I know? Would I have any idea how to use something as a conduit?
Make a perception check for me.
No.
With advantage, because you're inside the helmet.
10.
10. I'll say it's dark in
It's
there.
real bad.
It's dark in there, but you're able to see that there are some strange markings on the inside.
Is it in a language that
It's
I
in a
understand?
language. What language do you speak?
I speak Sylvan Novish. I think that's it.
I think that's it, yeah.
It is a language, but you cannot speak it. You cannot read it, I guess.
Let me see. Yeah, no, I don't have anything. I thought maybe I would have comprehend languages, but I'm not smart enough to take those kind of spells.
So can you do that?
Well, I don't know. There are words in here, but I can't read them.
Well, I would assume it's draconic, given it's a dragonborn helmet, right?
Yeah, but I'm not a dragonborn. I'm a gnome, and I don't think Genji's
grab it
gonna
off of
fit
here.
in
What do you
it.
think?
Oh, damn it!
He just lifts off of Sylvie, and you hand it to Ganji.
Go on.
He looks at it, and he's reading. Well, I do not think I can use this the way that is intended to, but Orpheus, you said it helped you as a conduit to enhance your own magical ability? Yes, I did. I literally just said that's how I used it. And he looks at it and says, well, it says it requires a sacrifice.
Okay, I'll do it.
No. Does it?
Oh.
Is it more specific?
It is not. It says a sacrifice.
Orpheus, what do you know about the helmet?
What did you sacrifice when you used it?
I don't know if you saw the room before you came into mine. I guess 2 rooms. All of those little crop folk. And I did such fun things to them. But my sacrifice was not humanity, what's the word for it? My tiefling-ality. I was willing to give it all up.
Wait, what do you mean?
That was the sacrifice.
His tiefling manity.
So did you sacrifice your power, like some kind of your tiefling?
Well, it happened so long Did any of you fall into the limbo portal? It was so chaotic, I don't remember.
No, Annulin almost did.
I got pretty close.
If you had not been so lucky, you would have been afflicted by something called Chaos Phage. It's from the... radiates a lot over limbo, but a particularly powerful concentration in the claws of the blue slotty. It is a disease that slowly kills you. When you would normally have died and are begging for death, it turns you into a slot.
I think that almost happened to me.
What happened to you?
I got clawed by some bastard frog thing, and it was inside me. I felt it inside me.
He was impregnated.
Was it blue or red?
I don't remember. I'm angry. You pissed me off. I forgot about this.
No, if it was inside you, that would have been an egg from a red slot.
That's even worse.
That would have grown in your chest cavity and burst out of your chest and killed you horribly. Totally different.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
still
Vandress.
hope there's still plenty of time to kill him.
Totally different, Vandress. God.
Now, let's be civil.
Okay.
I think that, given sort of...
Well, if we're gonna be civil, then you should ask the next time you take a helmet off of a gnome.
I just want to have a plan. That's all I want. That's all I ever want. You
Well,
should know this by
I
now.
started the plan. You just leaving it in your bag. We've gotten this far because I took it out and put it on my head.
That's fair. I mean, you've read it.
Sometimes you just want to hold on too long.
Well, regardless, it sounds like... So Genji, you could use this as a conduit for your Banish spell?
He looks down and he thinks, well, I didn't think... I don't know how good of an idea that is, but Sylvie had the best idea that we have.
You're welcome, guys. Just another day on the job.
Now, what do we...
You realize I have my hands on my shoes on my hands.
Well, does anyone have any ideas for sacrifices?
Yeah, I'm still down to sacrifice Orpheus.
Please don't.
Take me. I'm ready.
Alright, so Orpheus, if you don't want to die, then what do you suggest we do in your place?
It has to be the one who wears it.
Well, that's not going to work unless we lure one of these poor lizard folk and convince them to essentially off themselves.
How about you, Scales? Are you willing to do that? Genji immediately shakes his head. Absolutely not.
So Orpheus, you said that the person that wears it needs to give something up.
What?
Or needs to make the sacrifice, you mean?
If spells had levels, Ganji, what level would you say that Banish is?
I do not have the D&D Beyond in front of me.
Hold on, Ganji, let me check with you in a minute after I look through your spellbook.
With D&D Beyond, you can tap on your iPad and get your character business.
Great. Well, you could put it into my ring, and I could put it on and do it. I'll sacrifice something.
But you don't get to choose, do you? I mean, how do you know what you'd be sacrificing?
Well,
What if you lost your connection to titanium?
well then, woe is you guys for having to put up with me and the wrath that I would ensue afterwards.
My
The
understanding.
tantrums and the crying fits and the bouts of illicit sexual activity as I soothed my soul.
Genji looks at you and he says, he just looks at it and says, a sacrifice is not a sacrifice unless it is willing.
And what it boils down to is I either give up something that's very important to me, or an entire town of people lose their lives and the people they love. One sacrifice for the good of an entire town seems like it's worth it to me.
Or we could have Vito look at it and see if he could possibly use it.
And
Please.
You don't think he could?
He's a good artificer, but I don't think he'd be able to use that. Any better than you can, Genji. But what do I know?
I mean, even if I lose my connection to Titania, I would still have one level in Bard. I could at least mock people effectively.
Well, I'm out of ideas.
Me too.
Anybody else?
I mean, again, I think that I think sacrifice is a little extreme. I don't think that that's anything that we can do unless it's really mandatory. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that's our style here. Sacrifice isn't really us.
Right. And it's oddly vague that it just is a sacrifice and that Orpheus just sacrificed his humanity.
I mean, luckily I don't have any humanity, so...
Well...
Oh, I can't do it. What if it makes me sacrifice fecal deck? I would never be able to live after that.
No, that could be fine. Orpheus, do you think sacrificing this and I pull out fecal death?
I literally hate that phrase so much. It makes me so upset. I can't put into words how angry and grating it is on my brain wrinkles in my skull.
I feel the
just
same
wait
way.
until you get a fecal dress.
I will kill myself. Avantris will cease to exist.
And then the third iteration, feculus.
Misaki will have a party as I Sudoku myself on Venom Spine.
Well, that's okay. You couldn't Sudoku yourself on fecal spine. Because,
So,
fecal dress will have one with him, don't worry.
Orpheus looks at you, Rodak, and he shrugs and says, how important is it to you?
Yeah, Rodak, how important is it to you?
It's...
You have to be honest.
The thought that Sylvie made this for me is important.
How important is it to Sylvie?
Well, it's really important. I spent weeks trying to find all of the bugs and the poop and the burlap, and I had a rotting growling head on the edge of my broom, waiting for the hair to turn that musty gray color so I could dye it with the wine that the Annulin got for me. And then I spent an entire night stuffing it full of, well, I didn't even really stuff it. I spent an entire night rehydrating growling shit so that I could stuff it full. It was a labor of love.
I have a feeling that won't count.
Well,
He looks absolutely disgusted.
I'm gonna be sick. Rodak sits down and leans up against the wooden wall.
oh no, Rodak.
Oh no.
It looks like the sea's getting to you. You're seasick. Just hold fecal dick really tight and he'll help you through it. Just don't squeeze him too hard or he might
No, I left it on the
something.
ground by Orpheus. I just walked away and sat down.
Well, then I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm offering all the solutions here. I'll make the sacrifice. I put the helmet on. I'll give up the things. I'll do this. And all anyone wants to say is, oh, Sylvie, this thing you made is so gross.
As this happens, Genji kneels down and he says, are you truly prepared to do this, Sophie? I can do it.
I mean, I don't think anyone's truly prepared to give up everything. But when I think about how I felt when I found out that Sofina was a changeling and that one of the few things that I'd ever truly loved had been ripped from me, I think about all of those people in Goldhaven that are going to have to starve and watch their children die first. And that is horrifying to me, and I would be willing to give up most things. Anything to make sure that doesn't happen. And if we have to do something like this, get rid of that dragon turtle, then I'll do it.
Well,
Caught me on the right day. Chaotic, you know.
I will go along with your plan, but if you do not want to, I am prepared to also do it.
What are you without the helmet? I'm still Sylvie without Titania. Titania didn't make fecal deck. Sylvie did.
I don't like that idea.
Yeah, well, someone's gotta do it. So, get me Papa Orpheus's pants, I'll put the big boy pants on, and let's get this thing done.
So, you are very brave, Sylvie. And he puts his hand on your hand. And he mutters something in Draconic. And you see the glow as your hands combine. And you feel a warmth as your ring glows for a moment. And then turns to normal. You feel as if you have a level of banishment in your ring.
Okay, well, thank you. Any idea when I should do this thing? Or how I do this thing?
Wait, so what level's banishment?
4th level. So I'll be casting at 4th level because that's my highest ability to cast spells.
Do we need to be closer? I mean, is this something that we wait until we are in? We can see the
range is
beast and Gullhaven on the horizon? Do we wait? I don't know.
It's a small range, isn't it?
Yeah, but the point of us using the helmet is that it's to extend the distance for us to be able to do it. Because technically, Genji could literally just get within 60 feet of it and attempt to banish it. So we're trying to channel the helmet to allow us to do it from further away.
I do not think that is what it is empowering.
Oh.
Right.
Then never mind. I guess I was misinformed when I decided to give up all of my life's goals and my power and my connection to the only thing I've ever loved. Oh, whatever.
Do you know what ancient means when it comes to dragon and dragon king?
Like somewhere like a couple of years younger than Rodak.
Very funny, but no. It is the most powerful kind of dragon king. And the main problem is if I even was strong enough to cast Banish, its magical nature, its power, its sheer power, would likely be able to be enough to undo that. If I was lucky enough or powerful enough to get it done, it could just will itself in this plane of existence. I have a feeling like this helmet may override such an ability.
Okay. But then we're gonna have to get within 60 feet of it, boys.
I don't like that idea.
Yeah, me either, but, you know, such is life, I would say.
Hey, Rabbit.
Hey, Rabbit.
What's up?
That's so cute. I love the jeweled hootsies and the happy little purple penguins.
So, set sail to 60 feet before the dragon turtle, and then I'll... Woo!
Well, how far? We're still like days away, right?
You're probably, I mean, you've been sailing for a while. You're probably about 2 days out.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure those are
They
penguins.
look like penguins to me. I thought it was a penguin too, going like, hee hee.
Like
Okay.
if Sylvie were a penguin, that's what she'd look like.
Yeah.
Oh, those are Rabbit's own jewel hearts.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's amazing. It's
Um,
amazing. Sylvie, I am still prepared to do it.
Well, you know,
I think, given that Genji can cast that spell in a much more powerful way, it may make sense for him to do it.
yeah, well, the good thing is it's in my ring, so worst case scenario, I'm a backup plan if
Alright.
he doesn't do it. But,
Wouldn't that mean that you would have to sacrifice something?
Well, I also have a feeling that the spell may be cast at its maximum level.
I see. So that means that no matter who wears it, you can cast it at its maximum level with this helmet.
think so. It seems to be related to magic regarding the planes.
So what are you? You're not going to give up your warlock powers. You're not doing
Well,
that.
who knows what's gonna happen? I don't know what it will take from me. Maybe it takes Deck, and then we all win. Or maybe it rips Titania from my
But
heart.
doesn't it say that we have to explicitly sacrifice something?
It says you have to give a willing sacrifice, yeah. I don't think you necessarily have to know what your sacrifice is. You just have to be willing to sacrifice anything.
Is that right? Or
It needs to be a legitimate sacrifice.
and so what are you proposing you sacrifice?
Well, we've already talked about it. I don't need to keep saying it. Are you trying to make me cry?
No, I'm saying I'm not going to let you sacrifice your connection to Titania.
Well, what other options do we have? Like, do we have to keep having this conversation around in circles and circles and circles? Either someone else steps up and says, I'm doing it explicitly, or we continue with this plan. Because at this point, I'm the only person that stepped up and said, I will do this and I'm going to do it. If Ganji wants to do it, Ganji can do it. But I'm not just going to sit around on this I could or I will, because that doesn't sound like a willing sacrifice. That sounds like someone who's not sure that they are prepared to do what it takes. And I may be short, but I am fierce, and I will do what it takes. Sorry, I'm pumping myself up because I'm a little scared.
All right. Well,
I saw a dog do that once, a really small one. And it worked. I feel better. So, that's what I'm saying. We make a decision. That's what it boils down to. Because I'm tired of sitting around having the same conversation around in circles. Decision time.
all right. Well, Ganji, I'm assuming you have nothing to sacrifice?
I told you I am prepared.
Prepared and willing are two separate things. And as I am familiar with Fapax, but maybe won't be for much longer, it's all in the wording.
Well, if Ganji can do it without severing his connection to Bahamut, I would rather have him do it. And he's used to casting the spell. It's his spell.
That is what I am proposing, though.
Is what?
Bahamut. I am prepared to sacrifice, but I am not as enthusiastic because I am scared
Scared of what?
of not being without my God.
You would sacrifice your connection to your god?
If it's
No.
what it takes to save
No.
an entire city,
No.
then I will do that. What,
All right.
What,
No.
What godly dragonborn am I? If I am not prepared to do what is necessary, even forsake my own deity.
He's got a point. This is why I've always stayed away from religion.
Thank you,
But then,
Avantris.
what man of Bahamut would you be if you were to forsake him?
The one that did the right thing? I don't know. That is why I'm afraid.
I'm not afraid. The difference here is that Ganji doesn't know who Ganji would be without Bahamut. But I was Sylvie before Titania.
Well,
She made me mighty, but I've made me mightier.
if you're confident in this, are you confident?
Yes.
And this is what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. Well, I won't stop you.
Good. Let's get close to that dragon turtle. We've got a job to do.
All right.
All right. You hear a voice. I would clap if my hands weren't bound.
That's okay. My mage can help you.
And I use my mage hand to like slap him in the
He
face.
gives you like the behind the back. There we go.
No, it's patting his face.
Oh.
He can't move his hands. They're completely...
Oh yeah. No. Okay. And he's just getting smacked over
It's
and over
continuing
again.
way longer than it should.
Okay. Oh dear God. Maybe we should all just die to the dragon turtle. This isn't a good idea after all.
Well, was that clap effective enough? Or maybe a slow... Ooh, how about a golf clap?
And so I have it do a golf clap on his face.
That's better, I guess.
I think that's more effective. It more sets the mood.
Okay.
So let's sail until we see it.
Let's sail until we see it.
So, you continue on your path. And finally, after days at sea, nearly a week, your ship is unfortunately not as fast as Matthias's ghost ship. And you have to actually deal with the wind and the tide and all of that his ship didn't really have to. You could ignore much of it. And it is near dawn when you hear a shout from the crow's nest, or it's a little after dawn rather, that you hear a shout from the crow's nest that they've spotted land. And off on the horizon, finally, after weeks away, you see Gulhidman. It's just a blip on the land, and it grows and grows and grows as you approach. The Croc folk seem nervous. Your crew seems nervous, as the last time they were here, they were raiders and pillagers. And they have no idea about what you're planning. They seem to have been in the dark entirely about... They knew that the dragon turtle was going to basically let them escape, but as far as how it worked or how long, or, they probably figured that after all the good things happened, King Krem died, Orpheus died, Deirdre died, or Orpheus was defeated rather, everything's going to be fine. And you start to get closer and closer towards the harbor. What are you guys going to do?
I'm going to have the basically be at the front of the ship. Do I imagine I would have to be wearing the helmet, or I just have to be in contact with it?
I would say...
Like, I'm just trying to figure out if Sylvie would feel the need to be underneath the helmet.
I would say you could probably get... you could probably get, like, an arm in or something to feel that kind of enhancement.
Okay.
Or, like, sit in it or something like that.
Okay. Oh, yeah, so she'll turn it upside down, she'll sit in it like it's a cauldron.
Okay.
And she'll just be, like, sitting there with her arms on the outside of it, just kind of scouting the horizon, looking for dragon turtles. And Lumi is going to be flying around, kind of scouting with her as well.
And I guess I would go to Vandris and say, I think we need as a backup plan, we need that teleportation circle ready to go. Are you okay sketching it out just in case we need it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. This thing's been burning a hole in my brain, and I can finally put it down on a paper or something.
Get it down, lad. Get it down.
So I'll take the chalks that we stole from Orpheus, and I guess begin sketching a big old circle.
Okay. So you on the deck, or in your quarters?
Yeah, I mean, I guess right on the deck, right? I mean, we could do it in the quarter.
No, I think I would say that doing it as close to where Sylvie will be as possible, just so we can, if we need to, at a moment's notice, let me check the cast time on it.
As long as it doesn't get wet.
So cast time is 1 minute.
Oh, yeah, 1 minute, yeah.
So even after I've prepared it, I still need a minute to...
Or it takes 1 minute to draw, I think. We'll say for now, 10 minutes to draw, 1 minute to cast.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, so it's 1 minute to draw it on.
Okay, 1 minute to draw.
Alright, so then I'll draw it behind Sylvie, and we have to make sure that this doesn't get wet. It can't be damaged in any way, or it probably won't work. And I'll prepare the 50 gold in my hand.
Okay.
And I want to let the crew know, I would go down to the crew and let them know that, like, hey, as we approach, just like be as close. Basically, everyone stay up on deck.
Okay.
And be near the circle.
Okay. And you're all looking out onto the sea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to need everyone to roll a perception check.
Oh god. Sylvie's gonna be the last person to see it.
And Genji, can you use some kind of spell to determine where something like this may be?
You tell me.
Doesn't he have some...
He doesn't have to prepare spells. Let's see where
He does.
6. Oh no, hold on. Perception.
21.
No, Sylvie's is 2. Ganji's is 18.
I got a 22.
22?
16 for me.
16. What do you get, Sylvie?
2.
2. So you sail closer and closer. You smell
Me, though,
the sea air is whipping about all around you. It is about
14 for Lily.
14. It's past midday, and you see that the harbor, as you get closer and closer, you're able to make out some of the buildings. You're able to make out Noble Garden high up on the cliffs. You're able to make out the wall, and a area that you were so familiar to be just completely filled with ships coming in and out, and just this beacon of trade and mercantilism is completely quiet, silence, no vessels at all. You see that ships are docked, but nothing is moving in or out. You sail closer and closer, and finally Rodek. You notice. Or Rodek and Annual, whoever else rolled the 22 and the 21. Vanders?
Yeah.
You notice something very faint. It looks like almost like a shimmering of light on the water. And all of a sudden you notice a little ripple off to the side. And you notice very faintly a cresting of what looks like, is that a shark fin? But it's a huge fin that looks almost like the top of a shell. And it is rocketing towards you.
It's there, Sylvie! You see it?
They pointed out, I would see it, right?
Okay, so it gets closer and closer and closer, and all of a sudden you start to see a wake form as the little fin turns into more and more ridges of an enormous turtle-like shell. And Vandris, you are holding the pocket watch. It is pointed at the one. You are ready to cast this, and you see it get closer and closer and closer. And right as you feel as if it's getting in 50 feet, a head emerges out of the water. Scaly, green, deep-set black eyes with this horrific beak. As you start to see that there's some sort of incredible torrential bout of boiling hot steam building in its throat. Sylvie, what are you sacrificing?
I'm sacrificing my connection to Titania.
Okay. And you're going to cast...
I'm going to cast Banishment from my ring the same time, thanking and asking for forgiveness.
Okay. Are you going to say anything? Do anything verbal?
She will say, yeah, I had something in my head, but I totally forgot it. So she'll stand up, and she's like, she's in this cauldron, and she looks around, and she's like, I love you guys! Titania! In the power of the Summer Court, we banish you back, and with it my power you'll take to save Gul'dan! And she channels her ring and shoots it forth.
You channel it forth. You feel an eruption of magical energy as this pink glitter and swirling energy erupts from your ring. You feel all of a sudden the channeling of this amplification of the artifact that you're holding, that you're sitting in. You feel its magic almost overwhelm you as this magic is connected to the planes erupts forth, and as a burst of steam erupts from about 60 feet out of this horrific dragon turtle head, a blast of magic bathes this creature, and you only see the tops of the fins emerging from the shell as this massive creature, probably larger than any diagram or drawing of any single dragon turtle that you've ever seen, is bathed, and for a brief moment, its eyes go wild as its form starts to shimmer and shake, as it almost starts to vibrate, and it looks like it's almost dissolving into glitter. And immediately, and for one brief second, it feels almost as if time has stopped, as you, Sylvan, willingly, in your heart, give up the image, the effigy, the admiration, everything, what it takes, your connection to Titania. Fully understanding that if you lose your powers, this is your sacrifice. And as you feel it, and the willingness, almost sudden time returns to you. All that's left before you is this violent splashing of water. The creature no longer in front of you. It's been banished back to the elemental plane of water.
But at what cost?
I can't believe that worked.
Sylvie's just kind of slumped over the helmet, like panting.
I immediately grabbed Sylvie. So I grabbed the whole helmet. Are you alright?
I'm really tired. I want to sleep.
Genji, check her out.
Genji steps up to you, and he... Probably the first time you've seen this, there are tears streaming down his eyes.
I look at him and I say,
with Bahamut's help, can you check me out?
And I give him a wink.
He kneels and he just says, I'm sorry, and he nods.
And I hold his hand and I go,
look, I'm still Sylvie, and you're still Genji, so it's okay.
I'm sorry. Yep, no, I'm sorry. Let me do a medicine check. And he is checking you out. You seem fine. Can you do an Arcana check?
No, that's Genji.
It is
18?
Genji.
Oh, it is
yeah,
Genji.
sorry about
So
that.
17,
Sorry.
sorry.
17. He feels, he's like checking you out, and he's like placing his hand, and he's clutching his holy symbol of Bahamut. His claws are shaking as he's doing this, and he puts his hand over you and over your hands, and he says, "You're fine and still magical."
Oh, well, that's really sweet of you to say. Dragonborn really aren't my type, but I appreciate the sentiment.
No, I mean that you seem to have a magical sense of magic to you.
Oh, well, I am sitting in this very magical cauldron helmet, so...
Sylvie, do you still have your power?
Well, I just willingly gave it up. So I think that teasing me right now is probably not the best idea.
I'm just trying to confirm what Genji's saying.
Well, probably not. Look,
And I attempt to conjure Mage Hand.
Mage Hand erupts in the air.
well, this is some sick trick. Who's doing this?
Where's Lumi?
Vandris, are you doing this?
It's not me, you know, I'm not magical.
You're practically a wizard now, though. Are
Yeah,
you
you
sure?
can do teleport.
Yeah, look, if it were me, that'd be one hell of a trick. That would be it.
Annulin, are you doing this?
How could I?
Well, I don't know. You do that shadow thing. Hold on.
And so I'm gonna climb out and like kind of trip and stumble out, and I'm gonna start prancing around the deck.
She's a brick. Hut. She's Matty.
And I'm gonna attempt to cast Lehman's tiny hut on the deck.
10 minutes.
Yeah. The entire time singing the song.
Genji steps back and his eyes widen and says, "It's a miracle." And you dance around for 10 minutes, and everyone watches you. And you hear it as she does this. You hear a shout. What just happened? From the crow's nest, you look and you see that your entire lizard folk crew is, if crocodiles could look just ghost white from fear, they looked completely terrified. And Sylvie, after 10 minutes of dancing around casting a spell, it appears. A purple dome.
Oh my god, I can do magical things! Okay, so I don't want to freak anybody out, okay? Because I don't think you just noticed that I can do magical things, okay? However, I don't know what I gave up then, because I definitely banished that dragon turtle.
That's certainly concerning. I agree with you. We should probably check your belongings. How do you find out what you don't know is missing? I don't know.
Oh my god, Rodak, check and see if Fickledeck is gone!
Fine. And I go and I look in the bag.
As soon as you open the bag, the smell hits you.
Yay! Oh,
Make a con
Fickledeck
saving
is
throw.
still there.
And your nearly imminent demise puts you at disadvantage.
I can tell by the color of joy on his face right now that Fickledeck is still there.
22.
Despite you nearly getting completely boiled alive by the steam breath of an ancient dragon turtle, you manage to keep your lunch as you see the disgusting effigy of Fickledeck.
Well, I'm really glad that you didn't have to suffer for my choices. I know how hard the loss of Fickledeck would have been to you.
Oh, I appreciate that, and I appreciate whatever sacrifice you made.
Yeah.
I think it's straight. Where's Lumi?
Lumi!
Lumi comes down and gives you a big ol' hug.
Oh! See, she gives me affection.
And I just kind of like scratch her little head.
Can you try to commune with her?
Hi, Lumi.
No, not her. With Titania. Do you?
Well, I mean, it's not like you commune with Titania. She talks to you when she wants to. Like, it's not like I can just be like, Titania, it's Sylvie. Are you mad at me? So I guess we'll see if she ever reaches out to me.
Well, let's just consider ourselves very fortunate that at least at this point, we're alive. Goldhaven should be relatively free and safe. And we're not that far. Let's get back.
Agreed. Although I guess we gotta figure out what the old, well, it'll come in time, I suppose. It'll bring itself to light.
Would he finish casting Teleportation Circle?
I'd say, yeah. No, Avantris. So you cast it, and you cast it, and a blue shimmering portal opens up that's pulsing, and as soon as the dragon turtle vanishes, 6 seconds after it opens, this huge 10 by 10 portal winks out of existence.
Well, that was cool. Take that bad boy for a test drive sometime.
Wow. That was pretty awesome.
Well, thank you, Sylvie. That was very brave.
You're welcome.
And we still don't know what you sacrificed.
Yeah, no. I don't know.
Well, that could be bad.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of worried about it. But, at least Fickledeck is still here. And Ganji still has Bahamut, so that's good.
Right.
And I'm still Sylvie, so that's good. And, there's one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh, I didn't cry or anything when that happened. Like, I didn't get, like, emotional or anything. Like, I don't want you to think that I'm weak, because I'm very strong. So, if any of you screw with me ever again,
And I like bare my little gnome teeth.
you know who you're messing with.
Trust me, after seeing that display, you can't polymorph me again.
Well, I know. That's why I gave you
But
Fickledeck.
I forgive you for everything, and I'm very impressed. I did not know that was in you.
There was a Fey pact that I made on Fickledeck when I gave it to you. That's why you can't let him go. Because if he's
Alright.
out of your possession, then I can polymorph you. But if I do polymorph you when he's on your presence, then I have to kill Avantris. That was the pact I made.
All right. That's fine. Anyway, thank you.
You're
Is
welcome.
what I
Thank you, Sylvie. I'm sorry. I
No,
keep
you're
saying
welcome.
He keeps.
If it weren't for you, Annalyn would have died many times, and I give her a lot of shit, but she's like my sister.
She does almost die quite a lot.
Yeah, so if it weren't for you and Bahamut...
And brittle elf bones.
Yeah, I
Even
don't
after
think
that
I would
necklace.
have her. And I'm hoping that when we find her mom, that she'll adopt me. I didn't say that out loud. What? Lumi, shut up. That was Lumi. God, she speaks out of turn. Pixies, am I right? God.
Right.
Anyway, awkward. Let's go to the harbor, huh?
Right. Well, you take us in, fellas.
Let's get this boat to what's-her-face so she doesn't kill Avantris.
Also, if it's okay with everyone else, I think we need to, at the very least, part with some of our gems and give Seamus the ability to rebuild. You know, he housed us essentially for free, fed us for free, and then his whole life was torn down. It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Stress laugh.
His stress is very.
That's cool, man.
So if we could give him either
you
some
think
money,
of the
Thanks, Mew. Thanks for the cheer, Mew. The old rip.
or some of the gems that we found, just something to get him back on his feet and rebuild, I would be very appreciative.
Why don't we give him all the gems?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As much as we're willing to part with.
The only ones I think we shouldn't give are the diamonds that Ganji has in case any of us die. But the other ones I don't really care about, and we've got an abundance of money.
Well, we don't even know how much we have in here, so I think that
Yeah,
let's get him
but-
set up. It's the least we can do. We will
I
pay
think-
for a brand new inn for him.
Yes, in Noble Garden. He needs an upstanding... Well, I guess we should let him decide, because
I'm
he
not
has those
sure.
nefarious kind
I don't know if
of...
that's his scene.
Yeah, it might not.
And I'm not sure we could afford that. I don't really know what we could afford, but anyway, I'm 100% happy to help Seamus.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it, and I'm sure he will too.
And, we should pay for Forgus to see a psychiatrist.
And maybe we don't tell Forgus about anything that don't mention anything about money or treasure or gems to Forgus. We can tell about our adventures, but let's try to tell Forgus as little as possible, and perhaps give him as little as possible. He'll only throw it away anyway.
Yeah, and maybe don't show him Annulyn's new children.
Yeah, good plan. Good plan.
Because he'll probably try to cook them.
I wonder if I could disguise them as like a dog or something normal.
I'm not quite sure. Well, I'll let you figure that out.
Well, we can just call them your seeing eye turkeys.
Maybe I can make them look like an axe beak, like Piccolo.
Like a conjoined axe beak. Like conjoined
Yeah,
twins.
a joined twin axe beak.
There you go.
Babies.
So,
All right, let's go back.
okay. So you're sailing back into the harbor?
Yes.
Okay. After your crew looked visibly shook,
So sure.
you are all. You head further and further in to the harbor. You see, however, that as you see the harbor really start to take shape and approach and sail in, you actually see a ship heading directly towards you. It is an enormous Sea Eagle vessel, the same masthead, a glorious golden Sea Eagle at the front, with the huge sails with their sigil on it, is heading directly towards you.
As if safe to say that we could assume that it's like safe and friendly.
They probably think that we're the Jolly Roger coming back to wage war on them. We
Gandy.
probably need to send a signal.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. Can you send them a sending and let them know it's just us and that we banish that dragon turtle?
Good idea. And he kneels down and says a little, mutters under his breath, and he stands up. Oh, Amalia is on her way. And the ship goes larger and larger as it gets closer and closer, and as you sail up across. You see standing at the bow, in full captain's regalia, with a large brimmed, rather a not large brimmed hat, a wide admiral's hat. You, in a long coat with one sleeve flapping in the wind, where an arm is missing, you see Amalia Theramore standing at the bow. And as the ship sails up, you hear a voice. You all survived!
Yes.
Thanks to this wee one.
Hi.
I saw through my looking glass. We called every monster hunter in the world, and it was you all that managed to save us.
The one and only.
Yeah. Avantris is very capable. If it weren't for the brilliance of his chest, I never would have had the courage to do it. But I've seen his nipples up close. And with that image, I can do anything.
Holy crap.
That's graphic.
It's a little. Do you know that you overshare a little bit? This might.
cracking up right now.
This might not be the best time. Anyway, yes, we survived.
Y'all
We
are
have
too serious.
captured Orpheus Radamanthus, and we plan to bring him to justice.
You're shouting this over
Yeah.
over the deck.
To justice!
Well, you shall receive a hero's welcome. Thank you, Sylvie, for saving our city.
And you, remember? Anyway, I love you. Hi.
Of course, I know all of you. The saviors of Gullhaven. We will grant you safe passage despite your crew being the Lockjaws. I'm sure there's a long story to this.
There
About
is.
that, they're fine. They're good lads.
And I look forward to hearing it. I will send guards to escort you back to your quarters, and you're welcome in Blood Anchor whenever you desire to meet with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lead the way.
Bye.
And so you see the sailors on this vessel cheering and waving and saying, "Shout, thank you, thank you, thank you." And they're really excited. They don't even seem to care that you are on a vessel crewed by the four pirates that sacked their city. You get the sense that Amalia, at the very least, watched what happened occur, and they seem to have gotten the story, and they return back to Blood Anchor as two smaller vessels meet you and effectively escort your vessel into the harbor. You hear the dinging of bells as civilians and people of Gullhaven are all clamoring by the docks and cheer as your ship finds its way to the dock and makes anchor and ties up the ship. The captain, Clubba, that you had met, says, "We'll wait on here. We'll wait here. Don't worry about us. We ain't gonna go into Gullhaven."
That's probably for the best. Just stay here and keep a low profile. We'll make sure that nobody bothers you.
And as this is happening, as you're docking, you suddenly see almost immediately smaller vessels, fishing vessels, trading ships start to take off into the harbor. And minutes later, the entire harbor is filled with the same bustling excitement of ships across the entire way. It feels as if in one instance, you and Sylvie particularly managed to bring back the livelihood of one of the largest cities in the world that you know of. And a plank is lowered down, and you are ushered into the throng. The guards need to carve a path for you. People are attempting to try to grasp at your hand, to wave. They're trying to get a high five or some kind of recognition. They're fawning praise. The guards, the seagulls that meet you there are keeping a wide perimeter around you, and they walk you through. You dock at Amberdock, and they take you through the city as people are just cheering and calling you heroes, and they escort you all the way back to the Wit and Whimsy. It's been so long. I remembered it. The Wit and Whimsy. And they escort you all the way back to your rooms. If you choose. If you want to do anything in the interim, just let me know.
We left Seamus there in the rooms, right?
You did, yeah.
We gave him free access. I mean, I'm sure he wasn't just hiding out there. We gave him free access to come and go as he pleased. Is Seamus around?
You do not see Seamus.
We need to go check on Rambi and Piccolo.
Did they hold our rooms for us this whole time?
Yeah, you guys paid for
A long
2
time.
weeks, something like that.
Longer than that.
You still have your rooms. They, as you're entering, you see that's the same woman who had been working there, the dwarven woman, and she comes up and says, "Don't worry about your rooms. Vido Velocinic has come and paid for you for as long as you need."
That was very nice of him. We'll have to meet up with him.
Thank you.
I still have a feeling we have to talk to Alphonse, but that's a whole other issue.
If he's still in the city, or if he's come back yet. But I agree, I need to go to the States.
I'm going to go with you.
So we rush to the
Sylvia's just gonna go up to the room and pass out.
the stables and we'll go. I would make sure that Sylvie's nice and tucked in, and I'll
Can
say,
you leave Fecal Deck with me?
Gladly.
I'm glad my constitution's so high, and I nestle it in the bed with you.
She immediately slumps over on it, and a little bit of the poop squirts out.
And just for the sake of this, we'll say that the crew agreed to look after Orpheus and look after Sunny and Scramble on the ship, just until all the craziness died down.
Oh, I was gonna bring.
Okay.
I was going to bring
I'm
Orpheus.
taking him to the stable.
Oh, is Orpheus with you guys?
Yeah.
Orpheus.
What?
We're taking
Yeah, we're
Orpheus.
taking
Okay.
Orpheus, 100%.
Oh, so Orpheus. So
No,
while
literally, he's coming everywhere. Yeah.
so are you gonna put a hood on him, or are you gonna?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, well, I guess we wouldn't have had time to do that.
Blindfold and...
We'll say I kind of expedited it. If you had a plan that you want to do, we'll just say that it happened.
So I would have thought that would we have gotten the sense that there would be sensitivity of, does everybody in town know who Orpheus is? And know what he looks like?
You know that he was visible. You would imagine that maybe that stories would have spread, but it's hard to tell, I guess.
I thought he would. Was he in costume before? I thought he had disguised himself when he was in cities.
No.
When we first met him, wasn't he in disguise?
No. He was in some fanciful outfit, but he always has that, right?
Yeah.
It was probably when we first started playing. I didn't know what a tiefling was, and I thought that was a disguise.
Probably.
So you don't have any spell to disguise it, do you?
No.
So yeah, I think that we would have put
If we give him an hour, he can use my hat to disguise himself. But
It's only if he's willing.
I imagine he'd rather be disguised than have everyone try and kill him.
I would think that, and we told them all that we'd captured him, right?
Yeah.
So I would hope that we could throw a bag over his head, and the guards could escort us and make sure nothing happens.
Okay, so he's a bag over his head. Sunny and Scramble are protected by all the guards. They take him around. People are looking at it like they remember the stories of the two-headed vulture monstrosity. They seem confused, but once again, they're just happy that the port's back open. As you go through the town, I guess I'll add these exclaimers. You see the sense of a town in dire circumstances. People seem to be considerably more gaunt than you remember. They seem to have this sallow, pale skin. All of these, the overflowing barrels and boxes and crates of goods and foods and and drink and everything were sparse. As you pass markets, things are picked clean. There's nothing. Businesses are closed. You see signs that say permanently closed after like 300 years in business. You know, X, Y, and Z. You're seeing a town that was greatly affected. And the joy, the energy is so positive, and there's a sense of relief that is over all of these people that are clamoring. And you know, it's a majority of humans, but races of everyone that you could imagine. And so you've made it back to your room. Sunny and Scramble are kind of trying to get accustomed to it, and with that, you're in the room. Orpheus is there. Well, heroes, welcome you indeed receive. It feels good to be back in Goldhaven, honestly. I missed it a little bit. With a bag over his head.
Now, can we trust you? Well,
let me answer that for you. No.
Oh.
You're right. Sylvie, you get some rest. We'll bring Orpheus with us. And yeah, so we would have like unbound his legs, and so he just has his hands tied behind his back.
Okay.
And we're just taking him around.
Okay.
And I'm guessing that, and I would have asked for like Sea Eagle escorts, basically.
Okay.
So while they're doing that, Sylvie's not actually going to sleep. Would she remember a place in Noble Garden where she imagined she could have an actual Rodek doll made? That's not made out of burlap and poop?
Yes. There was an extravagant toy shop that you remember. You can't recall the name until next session.
Classic DM.
Sylvie's really tired.
You can't recall the name until next session, and you remember that it was for many of the rich children and the visiting children, and you could probably all of the places you've been have taken custom orders, and so it seems to be a staple of the area.
Because I was just thinking, because we went to that one costume shop where they made Sylvie's frog costume for the masquerade. Yeah. So I was just wondering if it would have seemed plausible that they were the type of place that
not
could
them,
do something.
but there was some extravagant toy shop that'll be really great and fleshed out next session.
Wonderful. Because she's going to head that way, bringing Fecal Dick with her, and she is begrudgingly going to show it to the people and request that they can create. She'll use Major Image, expend a spell slot to create an image of Rodek, what he actually looked like, and say that she wants something roughly that size, that looks like Rodek, is plushy but has like armor on him that looks exactly like Rodek with a weapon. Okay. And she also describes Ramby, and she wants it to have a little miniature Ramby plush that goes with it.
Okay.
And then she wants there to be an opening in his back where she can put something.
Okay. So they take everything down. You spend a good amount of time there, and this is a toy shop that is every kind of musical invention. You feel like maybe like Vito is like actually supplying this with kind of the crazy contraptions that they have. Very expensive. You get the sense that this is a very tall custom order, so it's going to cost about 75 gold pieces. Okay. 50 for Rodek and 25 for Rampy.
Got it. I will mark it off. Right? You said 75.
75 gold pieces. Such a custom order like that. And as you all are leaving Rodek and Avantris, Ganji is leaving with you, and he says, I need to go check on some things. I think I will pray at the Temple of Bahamut. And so he goes his own way.
All right. Take your time.
And so he makes his way down, and you all check on Piccolo and
where are the stables?
They're probably like a 15-minute walk from your hotel.
So are they in Noble Garden or no?
Yes. You
the ones that we're using.
The ones that we're using are. I mean, there's stables all over the place, but at least there were. You get the sense that Noble Garden, as you get into Noble Garden, I should probably explain this, is that all of the businesses, even in the toy shop and all of these, they seem to their warehouses do seem to be, or their wares rather, seem to be sparse. But it seems as if Noble Garden, being as wealthy as they were able to hoard a lot more of this of the resources and able to get more. They seem to have been hit a little less hard, or considerably less hard than the rest of the town. And although it's still very noticeable, you actually find the stable is still in business in Noble Garden. And it was, he lets you know that it was also thanks to Vito had come by and basically paid for Rambi and Piccolo. They are absolutely overjoyed. Rambi immediately starts giving you a huge, like his rough tongue is slobbering. You're getting like flecks of drool in your beard. Avantris, Piccolo kind of is looking at you inquisitively and then kind of gives you an awkward like tap with her beak. Not that affectionate, but better than you probably expecting. So they seem to both be relieved to see you. But this is the luxury stable for the nobles, so it's a pretty it's a pretty nice gig.
Can I take some of the fruit that we would have taken from that would have been like on the ship or whatever? We would have taken like fruit from Gangplank.
Sure.
I just want to like give him like an apple or something, or a banana.
Yeah, okay.
If I have,
yeah, sure.
Bananas.
You get bananas, sure.
So I want to take Sunny and Scram and kind of lead them into the stable and introduce them to Rambi and Piccolo.
Make all three of you make animal handling checks.
Oh, are we doing this now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. I got a 20.
I got a 14.
21.
And 12.
Naturally. It's about right.
So, Piccolo and Sunny and Scramble, they don't like each other at all. Rambi seems to be chill, doesn't give a fuck. But they seem to be like, they're squawking at each other. Sunny and Scramble seem to be pretty scared. Piccolo seems to have no interest in that. So it's a little rough. Rambi seems fine.
Can I use a piece of fruit or something to distract Piccolo from the commotion and try to calm her down?
Yeah, make another animal handling check with advantage because of the item.
17 this time.
Okay, 17. You manage to calm her down. She seems fine. She seems distrustful of the vulture, but it's
I'm gonna go up to Piccolo and just kind of like pet her and like make kind of cooing noises to like indicate that I like Piccolo and see if that sways Sunny and Scram.
Make an animal handling check with an advantage.
Sunny and Scram. Oh god.
Oh man.
21.
21. You manage to calm her down, and she seems to start to warm up to Sunny and Scramble, and then they seem to be a little bit more fine.
Hey, I'm gonna leave you guys here, and these are gonna be your new buddies, and I'll come back and check on you.
As you're leaving, the stable master lets you know that like that's not usually the kind of animal that they keep. Like an axe beak is one thing, which is a relatively commonly used mount in other parts of the world. But this is something that they can look after for now for the heroes of the town, but they probably aren't equipped for anything longer term.
What's the difference? A bird's a bird.
They don't even know what a vulture eats.
I'll feed it. You don't worry about that.
Okay.
It's a big responsibility.
Having a pet is a big responsibility, kid.
It's true. It's true.
Okay.
So
Would they be able to make like harnesses and stuff, or is there like a farrier or something?
Yeah, not there. They don't make that kind of thing. So you all check on them. Everyone seems fine. Anything else you want to do? You're going back to the inn,
Yeah.
Sylvie. So Sylvie's back in the inn. You manage to finally plop on the bed. It is the most comfortable thing after for that many days at sea. It is the lap of luxury, and it feels fucking amazing.
do you want to find somewhere, Annulin, that would make?
Yeah, I want to find like a fancy farrier that would make.
Is that what they're actually called?
I think so, yeah.
What is it like a?
I thought it was like a saddle master or something.
And let me look it up. I'm pretty sure that like a farrier does like horseback and stuff.
I need to find Seamus. And unfortunately, Miriam.
What time of day is it?
It is probably approaching evening.
Yeah, I would just go. I'd go back to the inn.
Okay.
I would just go back and pass out.
I lied, a farrier is for hoof care, so I don't need a farrier.
Well, you never know. Oh, horse feet. Yeah, we chat's
Yeah.
got it.
Mew and Nose know what they're talking about.
The nose
knows.
Hey.
Saddler makes saddles.
Oh, Sadler, like the last name Sadler is.
Yeah.
Saddler.
Like Adam
Yes.
Sadler,
Yeah.
the comedian.
Like a Cooper, right?
Who was in
He's like a barrel maker.
who was
and
in all those movies. Adam Sadler.
Wainwright is like a wagon maker.
Never mind.
I hate Adam Sandler.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna find this whatever the store is called, and find whoever's inside of it.
Okay.
Go talk to them.
Okay. You find someone. You find a saddler, and what are you looking for?
What's the whimsical shop name?
Adam Sadler's.
Adam
I take that as
The Unicorn's Mane. We're gonna call it that.
Aw, that's a good one.
perfect. I'm
canon
gonna
now,
go to the
but-
shopkeep and say, excuse me, but I'm trying to find something for my mount, and I'm hoping you can help me.
Oh, this is my voice now. I can help you. I just want to preface is that Rambi and Piccolo are large creatures. Sunny and Scramble are huge for a chick, but they're just about like the size of of you. Like you wouldn't be able to ride them presently.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. What kind of?
She's planning for the future.
So basically what I'm looking for is like a custom, well, 2 custom collars. Is that something you could make for me?
I can make a custom anything. I don't have a voice.
I love this part.
What's your name, friend?
You're not there.
Oh, right.
Unicorn Joe, can I call you?
Unicorn Kevin's my name.
It should have been Adam. Unicorn Adam.
You like single-handedly like ruined Avantris like lore. Okay, so I'd like to order 2 custom leather collars with gold tags. 1 etched with Sunny and 1 etched with Scramble.
Interesting mount names.
For an interesting set of mounts.
Okay, for a job like that, that'll be 200 gold pieces.
Oh shit.
Did I say gold tags? Because I really don't need them to be gold.
Oh, you want a lower variety?
How big are their necks?
You would probably, I don't know, probably like yay big.
Okay, so I'll make sure to show him that, and
Yeah.
I'd like an adjustable couple notches because they're growing.
We'll make it adjustable.
Yeah, give me the lower. I don't even know how much money I have, but something in my price range. I'll flop out whatever coin I have and give me.
So you want the gold one for 200?
No.
Oh,
You can afford it.
We'll drop
They're
it.
gonna grow out of it, like however fast they grow.
I can do a lot cheaper for 100 gold pieces for both.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay, you give him 100 gold pieces. He takes the measurements and gets the spelling of Sunny and Scramble, and tells you it'll be ready in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Say the name of Unicorn. Not Ganon, not Ganon. It's Ganon now, bitch.
It's
It is
Ganon.
I'll
fucking
shout
Ganon.
the name of the shop in the streets. I'll point out all the business here.
His name is Unicorn. What is it? Unicorn.
Kevin.
Unicorn Kevin.
Good old Unicorn Kevin.
Jesus. This is how I feel in the Feywild when Greco randomly asks me stupid questions. So good shit on Mikey.
Great.
Thank you.
I should have known
you,
this was
Kels.
coming.
You would have to know somebody by the name of Jim.
I would have eaten and I would have taken a nap or something. I should have.
Yeah, the only thing I can do is find Seamus. I don't really care about anything else, so if he's not around or if I think he'll show up to the inn, then I'm good to go to sleep.
I'm heading back to the inn.
Okay. As you're heading back to the inn, you notice a loud rustling noise from Ganji's room. And not loud rustling, but it sounds like, kind of closing, walking around, kind of zipping up, strapping sort of thing from Ganji's room, and you hear a door open, and Ganji steps out and kind of sees you all. As he steps out, he has this look of sadness on his face. Did you have a productive time in the city?
What are you doing?
I am leaving.
What? Why?
When we were on our journey, I contacted my commanding officer, the series of sending spells, to give a report of what had happened on the island. And I received direct orders. Return to Shaitan immediately with the crown we found in the ruins of Ninsar. There have been developments in the war. The chromatics have been far more aggressive than they have in hundreds of years. Something is happening, and they believe the crown may have some kind of solution. So, would you be willing to part with the crown, Rodek?
Well, it's not my crown, but I can't believe you're just going to go just like that.
It is very hard for me. But I am still a soldier. I still cannot disobey a direct order, especially when my people are in dire need.
Is there any way we can help? I feel terrible. You've been with us for so long.
I know. And it is a regret, and I should not have told you this much. I wish you could help me. I wish you could come with me, but I was even ordered to not bring you. I was told that I should keep everything from you. But you deserve to know why I must return home. I know we found it as a group, but it would mean much to me if I may take the crown and do what I must do. I know it is sudden, but the tone of his voice was some of the most unsettling things I've ever heard in my entire life. For a war that's lasted thousands of years, to suddenly have such a dramatic shift means something terrible could happen.
Well, this doesn't have to be goodbye forever. It can just be goodbye for now. And if there's any way that we can ultimately help you, you can always send for us. You know we're powerful.
You've proven that over and over again, and it pains me, but I've booked passage on the ship leaving from Necpeth in several hours. But I must do it. When I'm told immediately, I must obey. I have no choice. If I can assist in ending my people's struggle, I will do what I must. And may I be honest with all of you?
Please do.
The path we are heading gives me great pause. My faith, what I saw when that creature came out of that portal, I did not tell you, but it showed me myself having abandoned my God and my God abandoning me. He kneels down in front of you, Sylvie.
I'm in my room asleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went out with him.
No, this was in the room.
No, it was a room.
No, this was in Ganji's room. I went back to my room and went to bed.
No, you didn't go to bed. You were just like chilling, right?
Oh no, I said I went to bed.
Why would I mean...
Yeah, so I'm just listening for the sake of listening, but he's essentially sneaking out on us in the middle of the night.
Well, did he come into the
Little
room?
shitter.
No,
to
he
say
came
goodbye?
into your room and woke
Okay.
you all up. So the intention is that you're all here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that
Sorry.
he went into your room and gathered you all around. So he kneels in front of you, Sylvie, and he says, "This is why I was so scared to sacrifice, because I feel like there was a horrible prophecy, and I do not want a fish creature or any aberrations to be the master of my fate, and I don't know what I would do without it."
I use my mage hand to pat him on his little dragonborn head, and I say,
Well, it's okay, Genji, because you didn't have to sacrifice. You need Bahamut, just like your people need you. And I don't want you to go, but I understand. If Titania asked me to leave tomorrow, I'd have to do it too. You know, we all have our responsibilities, and I get it. But we're still family, and we're always here.
This is a new concept to me, and I appreciate that. And there's a word of warning. The feeling in my stomach I got when that devil creature granted us our power gave me unease. So please all be careful with that. Another thing that has given me great concern. And Sylvie, all the rest of you, I know that family, it's interesting. We've been on quite an adventure. When the rest of my battalion was massacred in the swamps south, I thought I would never experience such camaraderie again. But with you all, I feel like I had that camaraderie back. And more than that, something I hadn't even experienced back home. This is not the nature for Shaitan. Family. And because I know that you all won't be able to keep yourselves out of world-ending danger, I want you to at least have this. It's not much, but without my shield or my spells, you will need all of the help you can get.
That's right.
And he pulls out a little package that he's wrapped. And he places it down on the ground, or on a little side table. Here, you guys. Well, I should probably go. They don't teach anything about goodbyes in military academy, and this has gone on for a long time already. He looks very, very, very sad. His tears are starting to well up in the corner of his
You
eyes.
can't stay for one more night, one more meal.
I wish I could. I truly do. But I am a dragonborn of Bahamut, a dragonborn of the military, and an order is an order. If I was to sit and enjoy a lavish meal and luxury with you all while my people are fighting and dying in the desert, I would not be able to live with myself.
I understand.
Genji, I wish things could be different. And it pains me to lose you as part of our adventures. We've done a lot together. And again, it does hurt a little bit to lose you, but I understand that things change, and that sometimes you have to do what you have to do. So
Thank you, Rodek. Rodek, please continue being the voice of reason and keep these knuckleheads alive. Maybe harder now for cooler heads to prevail, but there's no one more qualified for the task.
I will try my best.
Thank you.
Danielin?
He stands up, or I guess he would have stood back up. He goes to you. You have so much potential to be a true force of nature, more than anyone I've met. Don't be afraid to have the confidence to open up and unleash it.
Thank you. Thank you for teaching the responsibility that I didn't come to this group with. I was a lot younger and a lot more reckless, and I've learned a lot about thinking through actions before I do something. So thank you for that, Kenji.
It's been a long time since you jumped onto the back of a giant boar. He then looks at Vandris. Vandris, you are a much better hero than you are an assassin. And my friend, you do not need fiend magic to be one. I hope you'll embrace the calling and be the leader I know you can be.
Thank you. I'll do my best, and as far as those demonic powers go, I agree with you. I'll do my best to avoid giving into temptation. And like I said, brother, it's just goodbye for now. It's not goodbye forever.
True. Very true. That makes me happy. To hear you have had a change of heart about the power. Finally, he kneels back down to Sylvie. Sylvie, you sacrificed what I couldn't. And for that, I am sorry. It was the hardest thing I've ever done to just let you do that. And I feel shame and guilt, but I was afraid, and you are the strongest person I've ever known. And I've been meaning to tell you this, but I've always thought you were really funny. I'm just an awkward dragon. I'm sorry. You'll have to...
D&G, if there's one thing you can take from all of this, I meant what I said when I said that you wouldn't be you without Bahamut, because you've never had to be. But if you can take anything from knowing us, it's knowing that there's more there than just your God. And we all saw that in you. So going forward, whatever missions you're given, find that dragonborn that doesn't need Bahamut. Because if you're ever faced with that again, it'll be that dragonborn that stands up.
I hope I can one day do that.
You can. We all know you can.
I will. And you know you'll have to be twice as magical without me.
Yeah, I might have to be more bard than I currently am now. Because I'm not very good at it.
For you, it will be easy. He stands up and he walks to the door. He's in his full armor, Molly's Malakarum, and his new shield, Rising Tide, on his back. He also has his holy symbol shield on his back as well. He puts a hand on the door, and he turns back and says, "All together we've experienced things that undoubtedly have left us forever changed. And even if we are not going to go through this adventure of life together, I can promise you, these past months have been a time I will never forget. However unlikely, no matter how long I wait, if we do ever meet again, I hope it will be as old friends. His hand turns the door handle. May Bahamut's blessings be upon you always. Goodbye.
Gandhi,
Yes, Ubi.
keep your bag of wits on you.
He moves the strap of his bag, and he shows you that the bag of whips is tucked into right by his heart in his armor.
And I move, a bit of my stuff, and I show I've got a bag of wits.
We've all got him.
We will all keep our wits about us.
And stay in touch. I know you have that sending spell. There's no excuse.
I'm just a spell away.
And I hope that one day we will see you again.
I would like that very much. Goodbye.
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 The door opens fully, and he steps out, turns down the hallway, and you hear the footsteps as Gandhi walks down the hall, and the sound goes out of hearing distance. And now it's just the four of you alone in your room, and that's where we'll end the session.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Let me find somebody to bring here.
Well, the end of an era.
Oh,
God, that scared me. Thanks.
And it's a daytime Dagula. Hi, daytime Dagula.
Well, we have an update. We have an update. We are not doing next week.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, that's right.
I will be in California, so I will be out of pocket.
Yeah.
So we basically stay tuned. We may try to do something kind of ad hoc. Unlikely, but
I might stream too. I might be around.
So the next few weeks, stay tuned to our Twitter, to our Discord. That's where we update. And I think that, if we don't stream RPG stuff, Andy will be probably streaming at @thegreat_Andini. Go ahead and link your channel. But everybody check him out, follow him. We usually play a bunch of WoW. Sounds like a bunch of our viewers are WoW players, so we'll give each other all added on Battle.net.
Yeah.
And stay tuned. Just sort of, Mikey will be traveling for the next week or so, and then I think we have other people traveling two weeks after that. Something like that.
What do we do about that?
Yeah, just stay in Discord and Twitter.
updates.
July will just be kind of wacky, but hopefully
It'll even out after that.
Yeah, we'll be back to relatively normal schedule.
Yeah, and when we
towards the end
come
of summer.
back, we will be coming back with 2 new campaigns.
Oh yeah.
One of them is Mikey's DMing, and yes, he stands the entire time he DMs. I don't know how he does it, but that's how he does. That's what he do.
I gotta do it.
So Mikey will be DMing one, and it is, we don't really have a name for it yet, but it's our Striga campaign, and that is all of us here at Legends of Avantris are part of that. With new characters, starting off at level 3. It'll be fun. And then I will be DMing a new campaign that will be once monthly, and it is an all-girl campaign called Dungeons and Darlings. Annulin will be part of it, our lovely Renee will be part of it, and we have a couple of new members that will be part of it. And so that will be a surprise when it starts, but yeah, so tune in for Striga campaign and Dungeons and Darlings.
Okay, with that, I think we're going to raid Random Encounter. So show the love. Show come hang out the great_Andini.
Yes, please.
Follow Andy. We didn't even introduce the players actually this time, but you know who we are. We love you guys so much. Great Andini, he streams WoW, other video games. Great time. We're in there usually hanging out on our non-WoW D&D nights. So come hang with us in the Discord. I think we're ready to go. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's punch it.
So yeah, show Random Encounter
Productions.
your
Your
love.
Hooters.
Show them your Hooters. Spread the love of the Avantris
Thanks for watching,
fam.
guys.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for joining.
watching.
Shout the name of Unicorn Kevin.
Yeah. Episode 30. It's kind of historic.
Episode 30. Denouement.
Yeah, show your love for
Show
Unicorn
your love
Kevin.
for Unicorn Kevin, guys. Okay, we love you so much. I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see ya.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.